Beautiful design doesn't always have to come with a big budget. On today's special episode of Homeworthy, we're touring homes filled with secondhand finds. First, we explore a colorful and collected Indianapolis home where each space is layered with out-of-the-box art and textiles that feel both playful and soothing. Then, we step inside an antique dealer's Victorian cottage where Maximalist style comes to life with collected portraits, silver pieces, and unique trinkets. Later, we visit a grand millennial-style home in Louisiana, brimming with treasures from antique shops and Facebook Marketplace. And finally, we tour a historic home in Texas, where a passion for preserving history while embracing modern family life shines through in every corner.
Watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Scan the QR code to subscribe to our new channel, Weddingworthy, where we celebrate amazing couples and the love stories behind their perfect day.
Well, hello, Homeworthy. I'm Coco Cuffy, and welcome to my home. Welcome to my entryway, where all the magic is at the beginning of the home. This is where, when you walk in, I want you to feel the whole wow factor, and I want you to feel like you know you are in the right place. I love the lady on the wall. The art is called Portrait. I got this from Our House Furniture. And in the evenings, I'll turn on my art lamp, and she just exudes beauty. And then with the zebra wallpaper and the bright yellow, I thought that would just add a pop of sunshine, because I also decided to paint the ceiling black. So sometimes this space can feel a little dark, but with all the lighting and things like that, it makes it still feel grand. My mask, this guy has a whole smile on his face, and I absolutely love him because he smiles at you every morning, and he smiles at you when you come home in the evening. And I just think, what a way to walk into your home or exit your home with someone giving you a nice smile. Also, in my entryway, I have the bone inlay chairs that were also a find from work, and they are one-of-a-kind pieces. They're sisters, not twins, just based on the fact that they're handcrafted and very, very unique. Also, the greenery in the entryway, the large scale mirror, got a little bump and bruise, but it's still serving its purpose. I absolutely love the grandiose of the mirror. And then my zebra print that also embodies the zebras on the wall. So greenery and textured vase that also brings in more color, and a nice fun runner. And this is my entryway. We have been in the home since January 2024. And what sold me on this space was the fact that when you came in the front door, there was a sense of peace and calming. And what I loved about the flow of the home, it's not just a normal ranch, because from the outside, it looks like it is a very small home, but to have over 2,700 square feet and 3 full bathrooms and a family area and your sleeping area separated allows you to still be able to move about the home and have great function. So I just fell in love with the space. And when we walked in, we knew automatically this is the one. So join me in my living room where texture, color, and elements are above and beyond. So in my living room, I love the Afro chic theme of the textured sofa, the wood elements on the chair, the play of color with the pillows, and still working in the vein of mask, but having the bust, and then a light fixture that is also a bust of a man with a brass shade on top as well. And my rice goddess in the corner that is praying and keeping the place at peace. This room also embodies all my coffee table books, and this bust here, I absolutely love her, but I've given her some additions to her being more fabulous than she is by giving her glasses and her beads. And then also my drum and Buddhas. And then I also even have a drum that's hanging on the wall. So I just love collecting things that I find when I'm out antiquing and vintage shopping. I love a good flea market. And so you find things that, you know, make a nice statement to have a flow. These little guys are candles. Like, it's a whole elephant. How cool is that guy? And then another one, a whole candle. Who knew? So I would be remiss if I did not have a Chanel book for a coffee table book. I have my iconic home and also the Afro chic and hashtag goals. So stay tuned for a off the cuff coffee table book that will show you steps and stages of the transformation of my home, because this was a blank canvas, and I walked in and knew that this house was ready for color and texture. So David Ballum is an African artist that we also sell at our house, and I fell in love with his artistry. He is all things as far as just capturing the elements of the African genre. And I just think it is just simply gorgeous based on all the jewelry that the lady is wearing, hence Coco. So some other pieces in the room are my green thumb trying to flourish, and keeping things alive is where I reside right now because I'm not growing hair anymore. So let's grow plants. So different little statues and fixtures I absolutely love. And then another aspect of mask. And these guys were gifted to me. Never thought I would ever use them. But then all of a sudden they have a home. So just embodying all the things that I love in one space, but still keeping it seamless to where it's not overkill or looking as if I'm trying too hard. I just love to make things have a nice home. So working at our house was a challenge for myself because I was a hairstylist for over 30 years, and to be able to transition into a new love of all things decor. Our house to me was the catapult that gave me the confidence that I can do this. So going there, their aesthetic is more clean lines and neutrals and things like that. But it also still showed me that with those foundational pieces, I could still be who I am. So like I said, this sofa is our house piece, but to add the fabric on it that just exudes all the things that I love as far as texture and play on color and things like that. This is the element in the lane that I'm in. Being able to use my platform on Instagram TikTok, and YouTube to show that, it's a gift to be able to share the things that I learn. And I just get a whole rush out of just decorating and being able to make changes on things around my home. So my wine bar can be a little deceiving. One would think it might just be a cabinet, but the beauty of it is these doors open up to where you can keep your wine glasses and your bottles of wine. It has all the cubby holes in, so you can just slide your wine bottles in. And I just think it's very, very unique. This is also another play on the bone inlay. This piece is very, very heavy. So it's not just a fly by night, slide it here, slide it there. It has to have a home. And I thought it would be a really good anchor for being in front of the window. And with this space not having a TV, this is where we just kind of come and sit, have conversation, and just kind of let our hair down and just relax in this space. Along with having the different mud cloths on the pillows and adding different textures, because this is almost like a jute fabric, but very, very unique. The throw blanket, I kind of just felt like I wanted something very African inspired. And then when I got real close to it, those look like seas. How cool is that? So everything just kind of will manifest and come into its own, but you got to step out there and just give yourself the grace and the permission to just go for it. It can be changed. It's paint. If you don't like it, paint it another color and just keep embracing it, because it is a marathon, not a sprint. Welcome to my dining room, where I have a lot of visual stimulation, but calmness at the same time. So I have a vintage chair that is an heirloom in my family, where all my aunts had one, and it was 4 of them. So they split up the set and they shared them. And so my favorite aunt passed away, and she gave me her chair. And so every home that I've had, this chair travels with me. I've even taken it to the salon as decor to just sit in a little corner, but you better not sit on it. It is for show, and it is tradition. And I absolutely love this chair. This guy here on the wall, I found him at an antique store on the south side, and I left him in all of his rustic glory, because I feel like there is a story behind the fact that he has looked traveled. So sticks and vases. This little guy here is also another version of a mask, and you don't always have to hang them on the wall, because this guy also could sit on the floor, but I decided to put him on the wall. And my sconces are a work in progress right now, because I added the piping to cover the cords. So once I get that paintbrush back out, I'm going to melt that color to match the wall color. But these are also a find from our house, and they are exquisite and very heavy, so they have to be mounted the correct way. Also, there is this wonderful piece of art that says thanks and praises, and it's women dancing and just rejoicing and being happy, and that I love to exemplify in the dining space. But the unique thing about this is I got it at Thrifty Threads, and it was $7. And once I got home, I Googled, and this guy is starting at like $3.50. So score. Okay. This dude here, yes, and all this hair glory was gifted to me because if you speak things, things will come to fruition. So I'm at work, minding my business. I'm talking about my love of masks. And my coworker said, "Oh, mask? You like mask?" I was like, "Yeah, you know that I like mask." And she says, "Well, I've got a friend of mine that wants to get rid of some masks because she's changing her aesthetic." And I was like, "What?" And an hour later, the lady shows up and she opens her trunk, and there are all these masks from travels that she had gone on. And she says to me, "Coco, as long as you don't sell them, you can have them." What? Who does that? This was one of the guys that was gifted to me, and it was a blessing because I just did not know where I was going to find all the unique masks that I wanted for my space. But lo and behold, spoke it and they came about. Dining table setting. A lot of people do not set their tables anymore. I don't know why, because I enjoy setting the table. I think it just adds character to your dining space, and to be able to dress the table as if you would dress yourself, you know. So putting on your foundation, once again, you have to adorn it with things that look pleasing. So I've got the napkin rings that kind of do more of an Asian inspiration, but when you're playing with color, all those kind of things kind of melt together, and it's fine. If you like it, it works. This guy was an Our House find, and I went to the hardware store and found the embellishment for the ceiling and was able to spray paint it and match it to this guy so it still looks as aged as the light fixture, but it is a new piece. This lady here is a gift from a family member that knew that I had started my collecting of all things African inspired. And so I received that, and I think she's perfect there to kind of just watch over the place. Also, I have a giant mirror on the wall that is brass, and you can never have too much lighting. So a corner lamp, as well as the large round mirror that kind of looks like a sunburst in a sense. And the nice corner here, we have another antique find. This chair I actually found at a Goodwill, and I just polished it up and kept it going and added some cushions and pillows and texture once again. These guys here are from thrifting. They look like they've been around for quite some time because they're shadow boxed. So very unique. This piece was framed by me. I found a frame from the Goodwill and opened up the back and put this lady on the inside of it. And I thought that that was a nice touch for that to be a nice element on the wall. This space is kind of more like a pass-through. We have not been able to have a dinner party in here as of yet, because the parties that we have had since we've moved in January are in the family room, or everybody's standing around in the kitchen. So the kitchen is the heart of the home, and I don't care how elaborate I decorate a space, everyone gravitates to the kitchen. Welcome to the heart of the home. This is my kitchen. I am still working on some things in the kitchen, but the biggest thing in here that sold me was the wonderful fireplace. It needed a little love, so I just decided to paint the mantle, but futuristically I will add some tile to the hearth of the fireplace. But with this, these paintings here were my dad's. He was a collector of trains, Lionel trains, and found these in the basement at my mom's house. And I thought, oh my goodness, these are all of everything, because they speak to me based on the love that I have for my dad, But then after I laid them on the fireplace, I looked at them really good and I thought, one looks like me and one looks like my husband, and we are the locomotives that run this house. So I just love the artwork and the fact that I can still bring some love in from my dad. The fireplace was the perfect place to put him there. This 9-piece antique mirror situation here is the branches of a tree that connect. This was a little challenging to hang. And although they are not perfect, they are perfect. So I stuck with it, and that's where they are. And I absolutely love them on the dark wall. And it was what this wall needed, was this pop of the antique mirror, along with bench seating and this chair and a half next to the fireplace is a nice little cozy spot to have a seat. And I've got bar stools that are in the Krypton fabric, which means easy to clean. And their coloring of the legs is a new color. Most bar stools have the black or the light color, but this is like a cinder color, which I thought would be a very good color to add some warmth into the kitchen. The islands when I bought the house were sky blue, and there was no way I was going to be able to incorporate sky blue into the aesthetic of this home. So temporarily, I found a paint that would go over countertops. And so I got busy, and it's actually a dark green. In some lights, it looks black, but it is a temporary fix for me for now, with the goal to turn this into probably a quartz or granite countertop, and then adding a range hood from the ceiling, or one that comes up from the back of the stove. We will see. Stay tuned for that. So, but yes, to sit here at the island while I cook, because I do love to cook, and I've got a couple dishes that people just request, because not only is Coco a home decor person, I can comb your hair, I can cook for you, I can dress you, all of those things, but it starts in the kitchen. So let's feed you and get you happy. Also in the kitchen, we have our bar area, and I'm going to cut these out and add glass so you'll be able to see the wonderful spirits that are in there. And then on this side, we'll do the same thing. And then lo and behold, here are some more masks on the wall here. And then my cookbook, my Lazy Susan for my spices. And I like to go and get my fresh flowers for the week and do floral arrangements throughout the home, just to add some more freshness to the decor. And my backsplash was something that was added as well, to give more texture into the home. And the sink we dropped in and did as well. So just working on some things, but it's nice and cozy. And I added lighting that were originally just some can lights there. So I dropped those down, and then also hanging my cutting boards on the wall, just to add another element. Very intentional design for having people feel welcome into the kitchen. I'm not a fan of the stark white kitchens, just because it doesn't give the feel of being able to just come in and hang out. So I love the fact that when we're entertaining, I usually have to kick people out of the kitchen in order to get them to where they need to go and relax and eat and things like that. But I do love the fact that everybody wants to be in the kitchen. So the family room, when I purchased the home, did not have these doors. These doors were sitting in the garage, and I thought, what do they go to? And then it hit me. They go to the entryway of the family room. So I love the fact that they are see-through, where you can still close off the kitchen's portion and then still have a sense of privacy in the family room, just in case you are having an event and they're a little loud and you don't want to have that in the kitchen area. So join me into the family room, where I have a nice sectional seating that is a white sofa that most people are scared of. But when you purchase Krypton fabric, you have a life. It's water, clear detergent, and everything goes away. This sofa has experienced red wine, thanks to my husband, and there is no evidence that it was there, and he is still alive. This is a rocker swivel. That is the chair that everyone fights over when they come into this space, because this chair is a little slice of heaven, because it is very calming to sit. I also have another antique find. This chair here is a work in progress as well. I got this chair for all of $25, and I could not believe the tag that was on it. So my goal is to reupholster the seat cushion and add the fabric that is also the fabric that's on my sofa in the living room. Family photos and art TV, just to add another element of artwork without the commitment of art. Family photos on the wall as well, with a pop of mask. And these were the old school ceiling fans when we first purchased the home. And I was able to modernize these guys with this caged ceiling fan option. And they really brought the space to life. Even though the ceilings are a little lower in here, it doesn't feel like you are crammed into one space. Also, this room is another space for dining. So whereas we have the formal dining room, this is also a place where you can eat and just kind of not worry about spills and decor and things like that. So it's more open and spacious. I have one of my custom pieces that my upholstery lady has so fittingly done for me over the years. She took my vision and made it come to life, where we have the mink seat cushion and the leopard here. And then on the back of this guy is leather. So this chair is really doing the most, but I love it. And more lighting. We have, this is a light fixture that came from our house as well, but I was not crazy about the glass globe because it meant cleaning. So I visited a local box store, and I was able to purchase this and added it to the light fixture, and it transitioned the light to a whole new life. And I love it. Absolutely love it. So once again, seating is not an issue in this space because this is where the family entertains. So we've got the pub table with 4 counter height chairs that are leather. And then family photos in that corner as well. So this room is definitely a space where you can just fall back and let your hair down. So the ability to layer is, I guess, almost a gift, because I do it without even thinking. But the one thing that I do love about layering, you can take away and you can add to. Having things that are cohesive allow you to move them throughout your home and reuse things. So sometimes being able to shop your own space by just refreshing and moving something to a new home makes your house continuously feel warm and fuzzy, shall I say. So also, this mirror here weighs probably about 200 pounds. It is a whole human being, and it took several human beings to put it on the wall, but I just love the woodwork that's on it, and it is a great statement piece that actually is a good marriage with the pub table as far as the wood that is in the center of that guy. And then I have a storage ottoman that keeps extra blankets and pillows and things like that. And then the play on layering, once again, I have a hide rug under the table that also adds more texture to the room. So I also have a wood burning stove that was original to this space being added, because I'm almost sure that this was an addition to the home, but it also gave the house more square footage. We have not yet used this guy, but looking forward to it this winter coming up for the holidays, and being able to put a nice beautiful Christmas tree here on the side and just kind of look at the snow outside with all the windows that embody the whole back side of the house. Follow me to our primary bedroom where I was told that the room looks yummy. Let's see what your thoughts are. So welcome to my primary bedroom, where once again, I am not scared of color. This color is by Sherman Williams, and it is called Frambosa. And I saw the color and thought, yeah, I'm going to go for it. The purple chair and a halves were designed by my upholstery lady, and she and I have been rocking since 2006. We met on a humble because someone that was supposed to do some work for me ran off with my fabric, and the ladies at the fabric store gave me Spring's name, and every place I've been has a little sprinkle of spring in it. And these chair and a halves, I almost reached out to her to have her redo them when we got the home. And I'm like, wait a minute, purple is such a dominant color and a royal color. I'm not changing these chairs. I'm going to leave them in their purple passion and build off of it. And I love a good jewel tone combination. So to do the color melting with the purple drapes and then adding the pop of color on the pillows just really makes this room feel nice and cozy for me and my hubby. And we absolutely enjoy the journey that is going on throughout the home. So this bed is a new design that has more of a curve than square headboard. And then the art on the wall, bringing in more flowers, was something that just warmed me up. And my cheetah lamps with the velvet lampshades, I thought were the perfect touch to add with the filigree on the chair and a halves. And my horse head in the corner on a whole column that is just there. Once again, another spring find. And adding some lighting on the wall, once again, to create total mood. So sometimes this room will accompany me and one of my good girlfriends, and we'll just sit and have cocktails and talk. So I just love the space, but it is still a work in progress, but we're getting there. The art that is hanging here was given to me by my cousin, and she knows my love of art. And when she gifted me this, I mean, it really brought tears to my eyes. And I thought, this lady needs her own moment. So I thought, let's just hang her from the ceiling, to just give her this whole ambiance of, I guess, in a sense, being the gatekeeper of the room. Her hair wrap is out of like a tissue paper, that is raised from the art. And the drapes that I chose underneath, I thought would be a play on looking as if she had her gown or dress that flowed down from the art. And then the lighting behind her in the evening illuminates her, and it's just breathtaking to just have this whole little corner here that does its own thing. So she just kind of prays over us at night, in a sense, because her eyes are closed, and I think she is all of amazing. The inspiration behind the paint color was, I wanted something that would be moody but not too girly, in a sense, to still make my husband feel like this is his room as well. But when you talk purple and mulberry and berry colors and things like that, they exude warmth. So I just thought that this color would be a good play on the space. And then the fact that I had these two big giant black abstract art that almost take up the whole wall. So it kind of gives a good balance to, it's not so in your face when you walk into the room. But the room, like I said, was described yummy. So this is where it came from. So my bathroom has been a functional situation for me, because most people's bathroom just kind of, have all these clean lines and things like that. But I like to see my things. I love jewelry. I love earrings. I love art. So my bathroom still has a play on all of that. So check yes for all the above. The lady that I have in my bathroom, when I saw her, I thought, yeah, after a long day of work and working in retail, it's like, this is how you sometimes feel. Not that you actually do this, but when I saw her, I thought, this is what makes the end of the day like, yeah, woosah. But she's just super cool. And it's just a aha laugh moment. And then to find a pillow that says, please take a seat. Like, how perfect are those two together? And what was so crazy is I saw the pillow and I thought, well, where would you put that? And then it hit me, under the lady in the bathroom is where this pillow needs to go. And it's a perfect marriage. And then to hang some hot fuchsia drapes instead of shower curtains, it's just fitting for the lady in the bathroom. Yeah, that's how the bathroom came about. So right outside my bedroom, I just wanted to show you really quick. Repurposing canvas is a whole lot of fun. So don't sleep on artwork that you're over. Don't throw it away. Don't take it to the Goodwill. Just go and get some more paint and make it happen. So I was out one night after work and decided to redo this art. And I just started making straight lines. And then next thing you know, they turned into women. And I named them the Divas. So they're like Natalie Cole, Patti LaBelle, Dinah Ross. And so I thought that this was perfect. They have earrings and lipstick and all different hairstyles. And it was just a lot of fun having a glass of wine and painting with my girl. And we had a good time. So don't sleep on repurposing your canvases. So my outdoor is a work in progress at this moment, but staple pieces are in place. So we have a new 84-inch sofa with a swivel chair and my solar stove, an accent chair, and once again, Green Thumb is trying to make it happen along with the pops of color there and here. So we can come out and sit and have our coffee and a little breakfast outside, listen to nature. And the goal is to reface the concrete, add a rug, and I've got a glow in the dark cornhole that is going to go out into the yard. So this is where the fun is going to happen, along with a giant screen to watch movies and lay up on the sofa and take it all in. To me, what makes a house a home is your family, the things that you love, and the history of being able to make memories in your home.
Hi, Homeworthy. My name is Katie. Welcome to my home in Georgia.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Katie Hyatt. I'm an antique dealer and collector and creative director for St. Senora, and we are in my folk Victorian cottage here in Madison, Georgia with my dog Brother. We were searching for a house. We had been living in Atlanta. My husband's from Atlanta. I'm from Texas, and we lived there for about 10 years, and during the pandemic, we just decided that the city was no longer a good fit for us, so we decided to look more rurally. And initially we were gonna look more towards a smaller city, kind of like Charleston. We like that historic charm. But I found this Greek revival in Washington, Georgia, which is about another hour from here. So we went to take a look because I've always had grand dreams of living in an old house. And we saw it, and my husband immediately was like, no, that is way too much work. And on the way home, we were driving through Madison, and we'd been to Madison probably a decade before that with my parents. And at that point, we had just started dating, so it was kind of funny to come through Little Madison, and we were driving down Main Street, and we were just totally enthralled by the small town charm and the fact that it does have nods to Charleston and Savannah in a lot of ways. And so we began our search here, and we initially saw this house for sale as we were driving through, and I immediately dismissed it because from the front it didn't really look like it was much. But my husband was like, hey, let's just take a look. And he's a real estate agent, so he's very practical about those matters. And when we walked through the porch, it kind of really, just captured us. We didn't have an outdoor space in Atlanta, so that was one of the things we were really looking for. And I really love that this has just like a shotgun hallway with all the rooms that come off of it, and just the historic charm of the home itself. And so we've been here about 4 years now, and ever since then we've been making it more our home. We are in the main hallway of our house. This is actually the original part of the house. It's broken up into 3 parts, but this is what I like to call the palette cleanser, because it is got a clean kind of white color, and this is Faro and Ball. I believe it's Cornforth white. We went through a couple of different whites, so I'm not positive on that, but I believe that's what it is. When we first moved in here, the ceilings, which are 12 feet, were actually painted maroon around the edge, and I felt like it really dropped the height of the home. So when we came in, we painted the whole thing one color, including the ceiling. And I really think that it lends itself to the height of the house. From here, we've got this wonderful canvas, and this actually came out of my parents' home in Texas in a little town called Center Point. And the previous owners were big antique collectors. My mom is not so much. She appreciates them, but she kind of lets me take on that role. And this is a bit of folk art. I'm not really sure the scene, but I find it very picturesque. And so I rolled it up and brought it home and then remounted it on canvas stretchers. And then right here, this is another piece that I really like. We got this at auction, and it's walnut, and it's from the show Ozark. The auction site was just selling pieces that I guess the show we're done with. A lot of times shows will just kind of, they'll have a prop stylist come in and buy them all, and then they'll just disperse with them after. So this was just part of the auction, and I actually didn't know it was from the show until we went to pick it up. The auction house was in Chattanooga, and it is solid. So, and my husband and I moved this. We don't have movers. We move everything ourselves, which I'll probably find out that in about 20 years when I can't walk. So yeah, it's a really beautiful piece of wood. It's got, the turned legs, and it's great for storage. And I feel like it's really great that we have family photos. I have so many family images, and I just wanted to find a way to display them. And I actually just took a cue from the British, because I feel like the big country houses, they do it right. They just kind of somehow make it look so effortlessly with their antiques. So I've studied that in a lot of magazines and catalogs, and this is kind of what I came up with. Here are all our family photos. This is a section of family photos, just with grandparents and loved ones who are no longer here with us. And then, of course, our parents and dogs, and where we got married. And I love having those out for display. I feel like people like to enjoy those, and it gives more personality to the home itself. But we have these chairs that my husband got at Goodwill, and they're called the Playboy chair. And I think they're in the style of, I don't think these are made by him, Jen Ransom, I believe that's how you say his name. But he was famous for that chair. So they're mid-century, and I just recovered them in some velvet myself. Another favorite piece of mine is this Greek Revival lemon gilt mirror. And this was actually gifted to us by our old neighbors in Atlanta. And this came from his family's estate. And I was really floored that he gifted this to us, because it's a personal piece. But they saw our house, and they knew that, or they felt like it was meant to be here. And so I always told him, I said, we will caretake it for you, and if you ever want it back, you can have it, because I just felt so bad about taking a family piece. But he said, no, this was meant to be in your home. And you can see some of my husband's sterling silver pieces. And funny story, these goblets, they're 1960s goblets, sterling silver. They've got a trophy. It's for a golf championship. I found them at Goodwill for $1.99 a piece, and they were so tarnished. And I bought them thinking I was just going to put them in my store. And I had finished cleaning them. My hands were black, by the way. That's how tarnished they were. And my husband said, let me see that. And he looked at it, and he was like, that's sterling silver. I didn't know you could get sterling silver at, the thrift store. So that became a love affair for him. And now he, goes to Goodwill scouring for sterling. He's since expanded his search to estate sales and Etsy, where he has several relationships with older ladies who are getting rid of their collections, and he finds them, and that's one of his passions. So we do have his one of his small collections right here. And then going over here, this painting is from my first antique jaunt in Europe, and that was in France. And I found it just at one of the stalls, and it was 40 euros, and I couldn't pass up on it. So I shoved it in my suitcase, and it's just kind of been with me throughout the years. And it kind of changes spots throughout the house, but I really like this kind of muted tones and the idyllic scene that it offers. And we also have a habit of collecting portraits. So we have portraits throughout the home, and these 3 people are fairly recent. This one I got a couple years ago in Atlanta, and his name's Jebediah. I don't know why. I just like that name for him. He looks like he's up to no good. And her, I feel like I'm gonna name her Emma. We're not sold on that name. And he's not named yet, but he does have an eerie vibe, which I'm kind of digging. He's actually kind of coming off the stretcher here, so I stapled him in. But we like things that are imperfect to us. I feel like I'm not a high-end collector. I'm not a high-end seller. I really like what they call that wabi-sabi, that imperfect patina. I feel like it really lends something to the piece. It just shows that the pieces have been loved and really used. And then here we've got just a few more pictures of my husband and I, and then my father, my great-grandmother, and a little side table. This is where I will sit and have a cocktail oftentimes in the evening. And I really liked bringing in this modern piece of furniture. And with the antiques, I feel like it's really important to blend different styles to actually make the house feel warm, lived in, and homey. I went through several pieces of furniture in here trying to make it work, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this because, you know, if you're looking at like a Greek Revival home, for example, they had much wider hallways. This is kind of like the Goldilocks of hallways. Like, it's not too wide, but it's not too narrow. And I went through, I think, 3 different pieces of furniture right here. I had a table in the center. For the most part, this mirror has always stuck in its spot. But yeah, just, you know, finding something to fit here. And what I settled on was just, you know, locating different spaces so when we're entertaining, like if people want to, you know, congregate in here, there's a flow. They can sit here, they can sit here, they can sit there. You know, we have a chair down there. It's just to encourage conversation and mingling. But yes, I do find that there is a balance, especially in here. You know, you've got the heavy weightiness of this table, and to balance it out, you've got this mirror right here and the stools. And then you've got this lighter piece that's more, you know, just, it's modern, contemporary, and I think it offsets the weightiness that's happening over here, because then we're going to enter into a darker space. We haven't had to do any major renovations, luckily. That was one of the things I think that initially attracted my husband to this house. I'm all about the aesthetic. He's about the practical matters. Thank goodness for him, because I don't know, I'd probably be living on the street with my antiques in a box if it wasn't for him. But we walked through the house, and he noticed that the roof was very sound. It had been replaced. You know, all the things that one doesn't see, that had been done by the previous owner. She was the one who added the porch on. She did, you know, the HVAC system. She did all the things that really count when it needs to be done. We came in and we did replace the majority of the fireplace mantles. There's 4 fireplace mantles in the house, and 3 of them were replaced, and we replastered most of the rooms. We haven't really had to do anything major yet, and I stress yet because I always have an idea, and I'm always coming to my husband and I'm like, so, and he's like, no, and so, but usually I wear him down. So, you know, there may be a few more things happening, but maybe we'll have some kitchen renovations coming up soon. Welcome to our living room, where my husband and I and the dogs, we spend a good amount of our time in. This room in particular, when we were renovating it, and I say renovating because we really didn't do that much, we started with the mantle, and this mantle was traditionally used for coal burning, but I found it in Atlanta on Craigslist, actually. A woman was gutting her house and she ripped this out of her house. And this is cast iron. My husband and I went and picked it up. I think it was about $100 maybe. And we took it to our condo and hauled it up 3 flights of stairs. And it sat in my studio, my condo, for about 5 years. And, you know, he asked me, he said, why are we doing this again? And I said, because I know I'm gonna have a place for it someday, and I have to hold on to it. And so when we bought this house and we were putting the rooms together, I just knew it was going to be perfect for this space. So this really changed the whole look of the space. It really kind of elevated it. It made it feel more like a combination of French and English, especially with this huge gilt mirror. And this actually was a frame that I bought at an estate auction for $8. And I had glass cut and put in here to create this mirror. But originally it would have housed probably just a massive portrait. And I really, again, feel like it pulls up to the ceiling. And then we've just color drenched the whole room in Pharaoh and Ball Mouseback. And I love the name. They're so great with their names when they create their paints. But I love color drenching a room. I feel like it really elevates it and it makes it quite elegant without having to do too much. In addition, because we also have so much. We are maximalists, we collect, and everything does have a place while we are collecting. I want to make sure that that is noted. If it doesn't have a place, it's either moved or maybe it's sold, but I am very intentional about where I put things. I want them to feel right. So when I walk into a room, the way I put things together is it has to feel right. So like right here, for instance, I have a lot of my statues and I've kind of elevated this area with some, French candelabras, and I've got my portraits on either side with my medallions, and it kind of gives it this whole vibe. And then over here, this is more family pictures. This is also just a good way to incorporate them into the room without them being completely overwhelming. And I find that I've got my dogs and then my dad and my husband when he was a kid. We don't have kids, so we tend to have our own baby pictures and our dogs' baby pictures around. And then from there, we've kind of got this collection of portraits. This is what I would call the portrait room. And one picture in particular that I'd like to note is this guy. We don't actually know his name, but we bought him in England in 2018. And my husband actually has become the bigger portrait collector, but he was found in a little shop and he was so excited because it was such a good deal. He loves a deal. So he was so excited. I have a photo of him holding it up. I think it was like 75 pounds. And he was just like, oh my God, this is such a deal. I was like, all right, if that makes you happy, you get it. And it was in this very elaborate Victorian frame. And so I had never had experience really shipping antiques from England, but from France I have. So it's a different story, and you can't just like ship one thing because it's super expensive, as we found out. And we were driving through the Cotswolds, taking this picture around with us, and we're getting frustrated by the second because we can't figure out how to ship this thing. Like, no one is helping us at the post offices there. And we're like, what do we do? What do we do? So finally we get to London. My friend lives in London and she's like, yeah, it's very expensive. You have to go through DHL. And so my husband, we're at our Airbnb, he's like, what? So he just takes the picture apart. He takes the Victorian frame off of it, throws it in the dumpster, and he's like, all right, this is gonna fit my suitcase now. But we named him Winston because just after Winston Churchill, but he just traveled with us. He went on our travels with us throughout England. And so that's the story we accumulate with him. And it's a nice one that we like to tell. And that's one of the things I enjoy about the pieces we've collected is when someone asks us about them, there's usually some kind of story that goes along with it. And it's usually about, how cheap my husband got it for, because that's like such an excitement for him. Another piece is this mirror. I got that for about $5. So here we go again talking about that. But I just painted it this Kyra blue. And again, that's one of those things, like, it doesn't have to be expensive to be something that you consider important in your home. And I feel like the patina and the wear of the mirror really just lends itself to the room. And another thing that I want to talk about, this is just recent, we were looking at getting a new sofa, and sofas are so expensive these days. And we've had this leather sofa, I think since, before we got married, so probably 15 years. And I was like, what do I do? I don't want to get rid of this thing. I've got to find a way to reuse it. So I was asking my upholsterer, because I have an obsession with Penny Morrison. I love her work. And I said, how can I create that? So she and I worked on a design together, and I got this linen from the UK, and she created this slipcover for me with this little ruffle. And I feel like it just really lends itself to my Anglophile dreams. And I'm just it's making the room, my husband was a little bit skeptical about the fact that it's slightly pink, but then when it came in, he was just like, I kind of like it. It works for the room, and it makes it a little more casual and not quite so dark with the leather. It really does just brighten up the space. And I mean, he and I will lounge up here. Sometimes the dogs will get up here with us, but it just is a place where we like to relax at the end of the day. And over here we have another collection of portraits. This gentleman I got from a friend who was doing a house clean out in Athens. And he was a local doctor in the 19th century. And I just thought that was kind of cool to have a local, guy here in the space. And then of course I've got to have my Halloween. Halloween is my favorite holiday. And I made this as a tribute to Dia de los Muertos. I really love the butterflies, and you've got the skeleton with her French veil. This is actually a legitimate veil. It is from the early part of the 20th century, and a cotton voile gown. This is part of some things that I've had from my shop, and I was trying to figure out a way to incorporate that. And while I love Christmas, I love that this is a Christmas Halloween tree. But yeah, I love to collect things, and I love trying to find ways to incorporate all the things that I love. And while this is super heavy on the Halloween, I also wanted to incorporate some elements here very subtly. And I've got my coffee table books. I'm a huge coffee table book collector. I find that when I'm looking for inspiration, whether it's styling for my antiques or styling my own home or now styling other people's homes, I love having my books for reference. Pinterest is great, but I really love the tactile feel of a book and being able to look at other people's ideas and then craft my own ideas from that. All right, and then right here we have the first of two bars. We've got this 1930s case that has been traveling with me since I moved to Atlanta, and our collection of books. So this is just a cute little, cocktail cart area that we'll, usually use when we have guests over. And then one more thing I want to show you that is probably my most favorite piece in the room, and it's actually a painting of my great-grandmother, and I was named after her. Her name was Laura Catherine, and she was a redhead, and this is actually painted by one of her former boyfriends. And no, they did not get married, but he liked her enough to do a painting of her. And fun fact, she was a redhead and she went white at the age of 16. So interesting. I would say our style is maximalism, because we don't know how to edit. I mean, we edit in the fact that everything in our home has a specific place, but there's a lot of it. And we buy what we love. So you will see various styles throughout our home, but we tend towards English pieces and French pieces. And honestly, that style has evolved the more I've become in antiques. I think my first kind of old purchase was mid-century, and then it's gradually evolved more, and now we're at the Georgian era of things. And I think I tend to like the Georgian pieces just because they are more classic and they're more symmetrical. The Victorians were a little too gothic for me, but we do have a few Victorian pieces, but we just buy and we just make it work. We just, fit everything together so that it works. And I always tell people, if you buy what you love, you're gonna love your house even more, and you can tell a story. And most of the things that we have in here, we tell a story with. We can tell you where we bought them from, and it's a memory. So when we antique or we travel, we usually buy old things and we say, oh, well, that piece came from here and here's the story behind it. So that's kind of a bit about our design style. All right, we're gonna go back across the hall and into my studio, so come with me. Come on, brother. All right, we are here in my studio, and as you can see, I have drawn on my walls. This is what's called, and I hope I'm not butchering this, the trompe l'oeil style. And basically what that means is to trick the eye, and it's supposed to give illusion and depth to a scene on a wall, most likely. They were usually done for murals. And I don't know why, but I've always struggled with designing my studio space. I think because as an antique dealer, I'm constantly moving pieces in and out, so nothing usually stays the same. I'm always moving stuff around. In fact, my husband will come in and he'll say like, well, where was that? I'm like, well, I had to move it because I sold such and such, or this happened or that happened. So I was trying to find a way to make me want to live in this space, because a lot of the time I'd be working in our kitchen and not actually at my lovely, 19th century table. So this summer I was like, what do I do? So I found a couple of inspiration pieces online, and I just kind of went with it. And this is mostly freehand. I did some pencil sketches here and there, and I'm usually a perfectionist, but I kind of just leaned into the fact that it wasn't going to be perfect because it was a drawing. And a lot of people have said that it's reminds them of the Madeline books. So it's kind of like, you know, fantasy and fun. And I really do feel like it fills the space well. And I've added my art that I've collected into these, you know, molding pieces. You've got different art pieces around, and this pier mirror I love. I got this in Atlanta at the Swan House. I don't know if they're doing it this year. They did it this year, but they used to have the big flea market there. And she was sitting there all by her lonesome, and my husband and I scooped her up. I have a quiet obsession with mirrors. I say quiet because it's not really quiet. And then this axis hide is from my family's property in Texas. My dad was a preservationist, and this is something that is just a nod to my family and where I'm originally from, and it's very precious to me. And it's a good sitting area, so I can sit here and read, just take a moment away from my desk. I have another sitting area over here with a leather chair. And I love my paintings and the way I've kind of organized them. I've got silhouettes, and I particularly love this lady. I got her recently at an auction, and she's a bit witchy. I love the witchy, the witchy portraits. I haven't named her yet because she's also fairly recent. We've got this Georgian cabinet, which is fairly new. Well, I say Georgian, but it's probably late Georgian, if that, early Victorian. My husband found it recently, and he is a huge furniture collector. And it just houses all my extra antiques, and we love anything that I can kind of stuff with all my stuff from my store. And then I've got my collection of antique silhouettes right here. I kind of like how that works together. And then we also collect a lot of French books. And this poor little Napoleon statue took a tumble recently, so he's headless. Yeah, so this is just a way to make it feel, you know, this vignette. That's one of the things I really like, is a vignette, to make the things fit well and really kind of tell their own little story together. Like I have this, it's a meerschaum pipe, and it's actually a Labrador, and I never get to find things like this. So, and that's in its original case. And if we walk around, this mantle is something I also wanted to talk about. It was an eBay find, and it is actually the same age as the house. And I had the guy bring it all the way down from, I believe it was Connecticut. And I love that. It just fits so perfectly. So it was meant to be. And again, we've got more books and statues, more mirrors. And I really love the way this just kind of fills in. I have a lot of pieces that are actually for sale that are just kind of living in the house. And again, they just rotate through our home as they find their next home. And then here is where I do all of my work. So, and I love this table. It actually unfolds and it stretches out to another like probably 6 feet. So it's actually got quite a bit of room, and it's a hefty guy. And I got her at an estate sale as well. Lighting is a big thing for me. I'm not a huge overhead light person because I like things where the light is dim and soft and it covers all of the dog hair on the floor. But I found this bronze chandelier on Facebook Marketplace when we first moved in, and it was coming out of a very grand home in Atlanta, and she was just redoing her whole house, and she basically gave it to me. I mean, like, she didn't give it to me, but for the price she gave it to me. And I made these little shades for the lights, and I felt like it really gave it a cozy vibe to the piece without it being too austere, and kind of just making it more friendly, if you will. But she is kind of the piece de resistance in the room, and I'm just so ecstatic with the find. And I think my husband wanted to kill me when he put it up, because we were definitely sweating when we put it up. She's a heavy beast, but I am so excited about this piece. I love it when I walk into the room, and it really makes me happy. I really first became attracted to antiques from a young age. I've always loved old things. My grandpa was a big junker, and my dad would always say, I don't know where you get this from. You must get it from your grandfather, because I don't really understand why you collect old things. And I would always tell him, well, I really love the history and the provenance and like who would have owned this and why would they have owned this? So I've always been attracted to antiques, but I really got into antiques kind of about 5 years into my stationery job. I kind of made this stationery job for myself. I had just quit, like, I guess a 9-to-5, if you will. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I did photography for a little while. I taught myself film photography and digital photography. And then from there, I got more into the wedding industry. And a dear friend of mine who did our stationery for our wedding, she sent me a calligraphy kit and I taught myself calligraphy. And so from there, I started a calligraphy business, and it was kind of at the beginning of when weddings were becoming very editorialized. So I got in the midst of that, and I was able to meet some amazing creatives, some amazing stylists and photographers, and got to go to several workshops in Europe and also learn from those people. And I feel like from there, I've picked up skills like styling and more photography tips. And when I was in Europe, I was with a friend and we were in France and we went to an antique market. I believe it was the Valms flea market, and we picked up things, and I was just picking up little things here and there, and I'd started my business. I'd been in my business for 5 years at this point, and I thought, I want to offer other stationers some props and some pieces that they can style their stationery with, and I'm just gonna open up this little store. So I opened up the store when I got home, and I didn't have that many things. I mean, it was just stuff from that collection from the France trip, and I sold out. I sold out that day, and I was like, well, maybe there's something to this. So that kind of started my antique journey, and I believe that was in 2015. And so from there, I just kind of started doing more antiques and stopped doing the wedding aspect so much. And so it's this whole journey, but at the heart of it, I just love old things. My ring is old. And that was one of the requests that I had when my husband proposed, was I really wanted an old ring. So I just love the history of pieces and really what they bring to the table, and they really can give a homey aspect. They don't have to feel so stuffy or like you're in a museum. We are in the primary bedroom, and it is very pink. I knew I really wanted pink, especially this pink. It is Sulking Room pink from Farrow & Ball, and I feel like it's a very cozy pink. Like I feel like I'm wrapped in a hug when I'm in this room. And I remember when I started painting, I was nervous about how my husband was gonna feel about a pink bedroom, but he actually really loves it. He says the same thing. It's very cozy in here. And I think that layers are super important alongside doing a whole pink bedroom. We didn't color drench in here. I do feel, in my opinion, when you color drench, it makes the room feel a little bit more formal. And I really wanted to have some light reflect off the ceiling. So I did paint it a lighter color, just so when the light bounces off, since we only have one window, we do get a little bit of that reflection happening. So one of the things I really want to talk about is this sofa. So the lady who did our large sofa in our living room, she reupholstered this piece for us, and I got it from Goodwill. I think it was $30, and it had a ruffle, and I loved the curved back, and I just knew it was gonna just add to the things that I love about England. So I just thought, well, if I add this in my room, I'm gonna feel very much like I'm in an English countryside manor, and I have to have it. And so what I did was I played with two different fabrics. So I did like a calico chintz, and I did a really nice cotton velvet with it. And it's a super cozy sofa. I find myself taking naps here, snuggling with the dogs. I'll work here sometimes, and it finishes off the bed quite nicely, I think. It's just a place that my husband and I like to sit and enjoy at the end of the day. If we're just don't want to, rest on the bed, we'll come hang out here. Same with this little chair. I got this chair at Goodwill, and it's got this worn, pretty pink linen to it, and it sits right below Sir James. I don't know what he was the Sir of, but his name is Sir James. And like most of the things that have so far been in our house, there's a lot of collecting. So we've got this Georgian secretary cabinet right here, And this is from a lady who I really love. Her name's Helen, and she owns an estate company on the west side in Atlanta. And she is someone that's been super supportive of my career in antiques. And so whenever I truly love a piece, she always gives me a good deal. But I love this Georgian piece. It houses a lot of really nice items. For instance, you've got my grandparents' wedding cake topper in here. And then I've got a couple of sentimental things from my dog who passed, alongside some favorite books and scents. And again, there's just more art that kind of just encapsulates around the space that I feel like kind of ties the whole thing together. One of the other things that I want to talk about is this mirror. I've been obsessed with Louis Philippe mirrors for a very long time, and my husband gifted this to me for Christmas one year. We got this at Scott's Antique Market, and really it just set off a chain of events. So now, ever since I've had this mirror, I've collected a lot more mirrors in my life. There's 3 in here total, I think, and it's just gone everywhere with us. And I like the idea of gifting each other antiques. We've done that for several years. And it just makes, adds to the charm and the memories when you have pieces like that. Another piece is this armoire. I got this off of, wasn't Cherish. It was one of the few auction sites, the new auction sites that had just come around. But we had to chop the legs off. I was so sad because the measurements were wrong and we couldn't get it through our condo. But nevertheless, it's a favorite sturdy piece, and she's quite heavy because this mirror is like probably 1.5 inches thick. So whenever the door opens, it's like, it's so creepy. And so that you've got to have this kind of adhered to the wall so it doesn't tip over. Another thing that I really enjoy is drapery. And these curtains are some of our favorites. They're blackout, and we found these, we thrifted these, and they actually work really well with our 12-foot ceilings. I wouldn't say they're the easiest to close, but they work nonetheless with the cream and the burgundies, and that ties in with the pinks and the blues and everything. I don't like matchy things. I kind of just find what I like and I put it in the room and I make it work. And I think that that's such a key thing. And sometimes I feel like that's also an intuitive thing. I don't know it's something that you can necessarily teach, but it's something I've been doing since I was a very small kid. I would go travel with my dad on his business trips, and I would like organize our stuff and like make things fit together. But yeah, we've got curtains here. You can see we have curtains around the bed. Over here, these are some really pretty blue silk drapes. These are actually curtains that I've actually put around the bed to kind of encapsulate it and make it a little bit cozier. This painting came from an antique dealer friend of mine in Texas, and he got that out of an old barn. And I love this, just how it's cracking and it's peeling, and just, again, it adds texture and it adds character to the room. I don't like the perfect thing. I like things to be a little bit broken and worn, and I really just think it lends itself to the room and creating a homey feel. Now we are in our library and main bar area. If it were up to my husband, I think there'd probably be a bar in every room, but this is the main section. And to make this feel more like a separate room, because it really is a shotgun hallway from front to back, I've painted the floors. And before anyone gasps at me, these floors are not original to the house. This was probably added with the second edition. The first part of the original part of the house ended at the end of the hallway right here. So to make this feel more like a separate room, we painted the floors, and I had this paint actually custom made, so it kind of resembles like a Dutch blue. And I really think it goes well with the paint color, and the paint color is dead salmon on the walls, also by Farrow and Ball. And we color drenched in here to kind of give it more of a bar, kind of cozy cave vibe. And what we did here is we added in the famous IKEA Billy bookcases. So these are from IKEA, and then my husband has come in and trimmed them out to make them look more custom. And then I added in this mural, and I really love this You've got this kind of couple and she's telling them a secret, and you've got the wine bottle and the wine glasses. And so we'll sit here on the weekends and have a cocktail and chat about the week. And I also love this area because it's kind of my design reference. There's a lot of design books right here, and I will often pull from here again for inspiration. Like I said, I have books everywhere, but this is where the majority of my design books lie. And then as well as our collection of glassware. We have glassware that are from the 30s, and we have some, I think, Baccarat and just some vintage ones. Most of these are collected from Goodwill. A particular favorite of mine are these, and I love it because the stem itself is open, and so when you pour champagne in here, you can see the bubbles and it goes all the way out to the top, and it's quite romantic, I think. Another favorite area is our actual bar, and this was a table we recently sourced. Well, not recent, I guess we got it right when we moved here, so not recent, but it's French, and this is a French red marble with a brass surround, and you can see all of our vintage and new decanters mixed with some, again, silver pieces, and we've got this portrait here and our other bottles, and I feel like it's just a good place. So we do like to congregate right here with guests, because we've got our Victorian slipper chair right here, and then we've got the infamous Georgian silver cabinet. This also came from the same estate sale that the Georgian secretary came from, in our bedroom, and this houses a good collection of my husband's favorite silver pieces. And if you guys want to see, I'll just show you a few pieces that he was really adamant about me pointing out to you. So this is pretty cool. This one is crafted by a silversmith, a female silversmith named Hester Bateman, and I believe she was from the part of the 18th century, and she took over her husband's business when he passed away, and I think she was in her early 50s when she did, and then her son took over. But she's quite famous for her flatware and decorative tableware. So that's pretty intricate and beautiful. And then another were these two, he's got two of these sauce tureens. And I believe the maker is Paul's Store, and he's a British maker. And this is George III. And he's quite renowned for his craftsmanship, and he was pretty ecstatic when he found these two. Unfortunately, we don't get to use them very often. We'll take some of the silver out for Christmas or for birthdays and set the table. I try to encourage him to use that, because I think that that's one of the fun things about having antiques, is to be able to use them. So that's our little library area, and it's very cozy and we love it. I have been decorating since I was a little girl. I would go over to friends' homes. This is super embarrassing, and I can't believe I'm talking about it on camera, but I would go over to my friends' houses and I would clean and decorate their rooms. It's so weird, but the moms loved me, and my friends loved it too, but they're like, why aren't you playing with us? Why are you decorating? And it's just something I've always liked. I've always liked organizing and decorating and designing things. And when my friends come over, if they're coming for dinner, usually we've got a whole moment happening. There's flowers, or if there's not flowers, there's some kind of decoration at the table. You've got my specific cocktail glasses. It's a whole moment. My favorite thing about my home is that we've made it a home. I mean, we have truly transformed this house from what it was, even though we didn't do any major renovations to it. You can see the care and the love we've put into it. Everything in our home is very intentional. And I have friends who have never been in our house and will tell you that they can tell that all the pieces in our house is very intentional. And, I love that the floors creak and that they're kind of sloped a little bit. And it's just the little minutia of it, and the fact that it's just not perfect. And I love the history of the house, the fact that it's, over 120 something years old, and just the windows. I mean, I could go on about the details, but the fact is it's very homey to us, and we have made it that way. We just love it a lot. All right, we are now in our kitchen. and it is kind of the heart of the home, as they say. We spend a good amount of time in here cooking. We cook a lot. We live in a small town and there's not a lot of restaurants, so we do find ourselves making most of our meals. And really, we haven't done much to this room besides change out some knobs and a little bit of the furniture. I did decide to lime wash all the walls. I did that myself, and if you know anything about lime washing, it is a very labor intensive thing because it is done by hand. And this is a paint from Pure and Original called Coffee Cream. And I really wanted to tie in the room with the rest of the house, and so I felt like lime wash really gave a bit of an old world feel to the space. I did recently do some changes. I like to change with the season, so like I'll change my drapes, for instance, or I'll change my lampshade covers, or I just change, you know, with winter and fall, and then spring and summer. Also my Welsh cupboard right here, I'll change out everything. I just put up a bunch of Amari plates to fit with the fall theme and winter theme that will continue to go here. This is a very precious picture to me. This was my dog Yella, and he was my heart dog, so he stays pride of place on the mantle. And these are all things that we use, so this is very practical. I want it to be very aesthetic, but also very practical. And so you can see a lot of our collection right here of just everyday use pieces. Next, we've got this table. This table is fairly recent. We got it about 2 years ago, and I got it at an estate sale in Atlanta. And the table itself is English, while the chairs are vintage French country. And we had a butcher block in the center, but I felt like I really wanted a table. I also love Practical Magic, and I was really trying to channel that vibe. And I love how in the scene in the kitchen, they're just sitting at the table, and it just feels very homey. And so whenever we have guests come over, we do sit at this table quite often and entertain here. And I really love it. It just adds a bit of coziness to the space. And you can see I've decorated for Halloween. It's a bit more macabre in here. I've added some natural elements, and with like the eyeballs and the skeletons and the mice. And I've got another little vignette right here with this recent purchase. I purchased this a few weeks ago, just a simple pine piece. It's actually it's two different pieces of wood. It's pine and oak. And we added some fabric and some new hinges, and she's good as new. And so she stores all of our linens, etc. And I think she looks quite nice above our copper collection. And this new portrait, who I've named Goody Adams because she was a witch. All right, as we head to the back porch, I just want to stop for a second and have you guys look at this alcove area. It's kind of a pride and joy of mine. I got the inspiration from DeGurney, and while I couldn't afford the hand-painted wallpaper, I was trying to figure out a way to replicate that. And what I did was I had my printer print these vintage-inspired botanical prints for me, and I decoupaged them to the wall individually, and then I lime washed over them to give them that hand-painted effect. And I really feel like it makes this piece and this hallway stand out, and gives it a little moment for itself. All right, y'all, we're at the last stop. This is our porch, and it is probably our most favorite room, I would say, because we get to use it for a good amount of the year. And we feel really lucky to have this because we didn't have access to an outside area when we lived in Atlanta. And so we try to take as much advantage of this as we can. And this room I would also say is a palette cleanser because, as you can see, it's not quite so maximalism. It's a little more calm and serene. We do have some things out here, but it's not like it is on the inside. I did manage to incorporate a few antique pieces out here. We've got, you know, some plates, my husband's collection, because he is actually the collector of the plates. And so we've got a few of those surrounding, and then a few other decorative details. But mostly we just like to come out here and we watch films. We just hang out with friends. We entertain a lot out here. And most of our friends have dogs, so it's usually filled with dogs on sofas. And there's just a great breeze, and it's a wonderful place to be. And I feel like it really just is serene with the color choices that we've picked. And I would say this is probably brother's favorite room in the house as well. We actually got this sign, Little Riviera, from an antique dealer friend of ours. And my husband loves signs, and we were looking for something to put above the drapes here. And it just fit the space perfectly. And so sometimes we'll tell people, they're like, oh, what are you doing tonight? We're like, we're at the Riviera. It's really just our porch. But I do love the patina again, and the wear, and how it's just not perfect and it's broken, and it's just, it really does add character to the space. And it's impactful, I think, as well. And then next we have these zinc containers. Normally these have, you know, palm trees on them, but I wanted to add something more fall. So I've pulled in some pumpkins, and these we got from Restoration Hardware. And I love the face because it does lend itself to the whole French vibe. And again, it's got those gray tones that we're picking up throughout the space. And I really like that they're large, and we can move them around if we need more table space. So they're also practical. Thank you so much, Homeworthy, for coming through my home with me. Brother and I had a great time showing you all the details. Until next time, bye y'all.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Molly. I'm thrilled to have you guys here with me today. Welcome to our little Louisiana home. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Molly Duncan. I'm an airline flight attendant based out of DFW, and welcome to my home in Reston, Louisiana. We came across this home in July of 2023. We passed by it and didn't think much of it because the sale was already pending, but then we went ahead and toured it anyways, and luckily enough, the offer did not go through. So I wasn't available, I was on a work trip, so my fiance came and toured it himself and instantly put an offer down. He said that he loved the open floor plan and he just really saw us here, so I trusted his judgment. When I got home from my trip, we immediately moved in. It's a really nice home. It was built in the 1970s, but it has a little bit of renovations that we needed to do. It was mostly cosmetic and not really structural, which I was really grateful for, and he was too, since he does most of the construction work for me. We have been decorating our home a little bit slowly but surely. We have been mostly just thrifting, antiquing, getting Facebook Marketplace finds. This is our very first home, and we came in with absolutely nothing, so we wanted to decorate it slowly. I tried to really put love into what I saw and tried to give secondhand things a second life and bring them into our home so that it really reflects us and our style. I have a little bit more of a girly style, and he has a little bit more of a Louisiana sportsman style, so I tried to really combine the two. What I love most about our home is that when I'm traveling a lot and I wanted to go on layovers, have amazing time around the world, I kind of started to feel more, as the home started getting closer to being finished, that I just wanted to be here instead. I wanted to be on the couch, cooking dinners in our kitchen, having people over, hosting. It just started to feel more and more like a home. Okay, so come on into our living room. This is actually a funny space because this was actually the dining room, and then the dining room that we have was actually the living room, which I think is so funny because I could never imagine the space as a dining room. I could only see it as a living room. It is right off of the kitchen, and I just think that being able to cook and like see everybody in the living room or watching the TV is so natural. So it is a little bit older of a home, and we don't have much natural light. A 1970s home is kind of stingy when it comes to the windows. So this is the only kind of source of light we have, and we kind of move with more of the lamps and things like that and do with what we can. I'll show you one of my favorite pieces that actually is probably one of the main parts of the living room, the very center of attention, I would say. It is our fireplace. This fireplace is over 100 years old. My friend and actually future sister-in-law, Avery, helped me load it into the back of my fiance's truck. We drove about 40 minutes out of our town to a much smaller town, and an older man was selling it. He wanted like $100 for it, and it is quite possibly the heaviest thing we have in this house. There's actually like a huge dent on one of the corners because we dropped it trying to get it out of the truck. I don't know why two girls thought that we could lift this thing and put it into the living room, but we had a goal and nobody was gonna be home from work for hours. So we were like, we have got to get this thing in the house. But I love it, and I fill it with just kind of some different plants. Usually there's a fern down here, but I can't seem to keep the ferns alive at all. So now I have a little fake magnolia plant in here and I love it. I filled it with a little mirror to kind of bounce off the reflection of the light and kind of people walking around, just to, again, add space to a very small part of our house. And then here is our DIY fireplace screen. I have come across a couple antique fireplace screens that were pretty expensive. They were either too expensive or too small. I actually found one for really cheap, and then it was only this size and wasn't big enough for this area. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna do it myself. I got this fireplace screen off of Facebook Marketplace and then grabbed these iron, or I guess they're brass maybe, pieces from antique stores, thrift stores, I think, and Facebook resale groups, and then just kind of pieced them together. I spray painted the whole thing gold at first and then realized that you can't see through it when it's gold, so you have to go back and paint it black. So don't look at it too closely because it's a little messed up in some areas, but I actually really love it, and I just love that it adds the bow detailing to such a white space over here. Our bookshelves are probably my favorite part of the living room. These are the IKEA Billy bookshelves with one of the extensions added to the top. And my favorite thing about the living room is that every single thing is mostly, I got it thrifted, antiquing, or maybe some estate sale items in there, but I think there's probably maybe 5 to 10 new things in this whole entire space, which I love. I think that I was really able to kind of give a second life to a lot of the things up here, and I love it. I love it so much. This is the original design of knickknacks that I made, and I have not changed it since. All of these things have been here for over a year now, and I still love them each and every day. And then I also have another one on this side of the room. This is one of my favorites. I love the white against the white, since I have some white on that other bookshelf too, but this is a white bordello cabbage plate. This is the actual only white bordello I have in the house. I will show you later, but everything else is the green cabbage. But I actually got it for $2 at a thrift store in Dallas, Texas. They have a really good thrift store in the Highland Park area, so a lot of the nice ladies will donate very expensive things, and I will go and scoop in and get them for pretty cheap. So I love that. I have a print of my college that I went to, Louisiana Tech. My mom got that for me, I think for Christmas or my birthday one year, and I keep it up there. It's a beautiful artwork of the original tile that they have on the cement over there. It's actually not there anymore. They replaced it for a water fountain, but my time at Tech was with the tile, so I love that I have what it looked like when I was there and not what it looks like now. Yeah, other than that, I just really love that I was able to kind of throw in things that really speaks to us. I try to add little things of ducks and boyish stuff here and there so that it adds a little bit to his home as well as mine. And I just love that the color sticking to mostly blue, white, and green in this part of our home. Okay, so this is Leo. He has come out to make an appearance for the day. Our dog Junie is still a puppy and wouldn't be ready for a home tour quite yet, so she is at the dog sitter. So Leo loves when Junie is out and can have the house back to himself. He is my 10-year-old Berman, and I got him whenever he was like 7 or 8 years old. So I got really lucky with this free little rescue here. Otherwise, he would have been a pretty expensive animal to get, but he is my absolute pride and joy. I love him so much. He's got these beautiful blue eyes, and they're a little bit cross-eyed, so I love him so much. He hangs out all around the house, but especially in the purple room. So I'm sure whenever we make our way over there, that is his room and his room only, and he'll come out and say hello. Again, with the living room, this is my garden stool that I actually adore. I got it for $10 at an estate sale in Monroe, Louisiana. I showed up and it was just sitting outside, and it had a little $10 blue tape sticker on there. And I said, "Are you sure this is $10? And he said, "Yeah," because they had plates inside for like 50. So I was very shocked. It has gone outside, it has gone inside. It had a wasp nest when I first got it. It has made it through pretty much everything, and I love it. This is something I would have never been able to get such an antique at such a great price, so I adore it so much. Making our way over to the coffee table. I change this up pretty frequently, as well as the books on it, and I just try to keep it with my greens, my blues and white, and just things that you want to grab towards or that kind of reflect us. We have a little print of Charleston here that I love. This is our first trip to Charleston, and it won't be our last because we get married in Charleston next April. So I keep it up here as kind of a little reminder of who we are and what we adore. Yeah, so I got this coffee table from my friend Avery, who I mentioned with the fireplace. She got it for herself for her own living room, and it was just too small. So I happily took it off of her hands, and I'm so glad we did because I love the antique bamboo looks. I have a couple more around the house, and it's just, I love it. I will never get enough of the vintage and brown bamboo. So if you go back towards the front of the house, you'll first see the entryway off of the living room and dining room. This is actually my favorite part of the house. It is my absolute favorite to touch up and change up each season. So I got this beautiful little entryway table from Facebook Marketplace. I think it was like $20. And then I stuck these little cushions underneath here from Home Goods, and I just really love it. I think that it goes with each season. I change out each different thing, but this was a new purchase. I got it from At Home. It is the white ruffle mirror. It's kind of a dupe for a more expensive one, and it does just the job, the same. I love it so much, and I love the white against the white, which I didn't think I would, but it keeps it, since it has so much texture, it keeps it fun, but it's not overpowering because it's not a bright color. So I'm able to change this up with the different seasons for any colors that I've got going on. And I've got my Bordello cabbage plate right here, which I have throughout the dining room, and I will happily show you. And then I have my little ginger jars that I fill up with my faux flowers. I'm a huge faux flower person. I'm not home enough for fake flowers because I buy them and then I have to go on a trip either 4 days later or the next day, and so I'm not really able to enjoy them. I do my best to incorporate whatever seasonal thing is going on. There might be some poinsettias in here at Christmas, or there might be some dried brown and green hydrangeas for fall, and I love it. I just love changing this up all the time. I also have little photos of us and some rose medallion. I have my rose medallion out this time of year. And I love this little part of our wall. This is some little 3 plates that I have up here. This middle one changes out each season, and I absolutely adore it. I take it off and do my turkey for Thanksgiving, my little spode woodland turkey, or I put my spode Christmas tree up for Christmas, and this is what I have. I have my Famille Rose by Williams-Sonoma up this time of the year, and I just love it. I love changing it up so much. This is my Facebook Marketplace chair that I reupholstered myself, and I feel like I did a pretty good job. This is the first ever reupholstering I did, and it probably won't be the last because it was super easy. All you need to do is just unscrew the seat and stick on some fabric you like, and then staple gun it back in there. But I love it. It adds an extra chair if we need one. Sometimes during the holidays at like Easter or Christmas, we have a little bit bigger of a family joining us for dinners and things like that. So I'm lucky that I'm able to grab it and throw it in there. It goes pretty much with any room because of the color and texture I chose for it, and I adore it so much. So since we came from having much of nothing in this house and really needed to build it as we go, we have DIY'd so much. I can't even count how many things we have done in this house ourselves. I have a little bit of an art background, as I said, so anything that I see on Pinterest that I need to have that I might not be able to afford that month, I have definitely created, or if I can just do it myself, I will do it myself. My fiance used to work construction, so he has done all of the crown molding, the wainscoting, anything like that in here. And then whenever I see something like a DIY fireplace screen or things like that that I can't get because it's not accessible to me, I will go ahead and make it if I can do it. Welcome to our dining room, which, like I said, in the living room, I can't believe that this was one day the living room. We have a huge window on this wall over here. I think it works great as a dining room, and it'll never not be a dining room. Tablescape and plates and things like that are probably the favorite thing. I absolutely enjoy them. I'm learning more and more through each season how much I absolutely adore changing these things out. I just got this tablecloth from Miss Alice. She just had a huge sale and I snagged it. I love it so much. It's a little wrinkly in places because it's brand new, but I thought it went really well with this time of the year. Again, some faux florals stuck in this little ginger jar, and I have these blue placemats I got at an estate sale in Dallas, Texas. It was the biggest estate sale I have ever been to. I got them for like $25 for a set of 6, and they're really, really nice. I am a huge fan of bordello cabbage, and I will try to be the one to convince you that bordello cabbage goes with each and every season that you can think of. It's great at Christmas because it's green. It's great at Easter because it's cabbage and it looks very springy. And then it's good at fall because you incorporate it with the spode woodland and the browns, and it's still just as perfect with the green. It just kind of gives the green color of fall. I have it with some white plates that my grandma gave me. My Nana gave me when I first moved into the house. I had absolutely nothing, and she gave me these little white plates, and I just put them here so that it would kind of be a background with the gold and the green, and then the big pop of color with the famille rose. Over here is my favorite part. I keep saying that it's my favorite part, but really, this is my probably pride and joy, is my china cabinet. This too changes up each season. The funny story about this china cabinet is I got it in Longview, Texas, which is one of the towns that you have to pass through whenever you're going from Dallas to where I live in Ruston. My fiance was visiting me, I think during a holiday, it was Christmas, and I obviously couldn't have it off because I am not senior enough at my job in Dallas to get holidays off yet. So he came up to visit me and bring Christmas to me. And I found this in Longview on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, please pick it up on your way home, please. He said yes, and what we didn't think of is the fact that it was Christmas Day and no one would be able to help him with this. So he showed up to the house. It was sitting outside. I had already prepaid for it. It was like $150. And he loaded this thing up into his truck by himself. He will tell you, even to this day, this was the most annoying thing he has done in this house. I'm so shocked he was able to get all of the glass without scratching or breaking any of it. He only nicked it a few times, and I've covered it up with some furniture paint. I'm really shocked, and I just adore him for getting this into our home. It was really all him. But it's just the perfect style, and I love the color that it brings. I even love the little tiger stripes. I guess they're more, I don't know, the mahogany kind of look, but I love that. I think it's perfect, and I love the hardware that goes with it. But I will show you into our china cabinet. So right now I have my famille rose, which is probably my most pride and joy, I would say. I have spent many, many years filling it with estate sale finds, eBay finds, auctions, some thrift stores if you're lucky. But for the most part, I just get my hands on them whenever I can. Famille rose is something I'm super passionate about. I love learning about it. I love learning about the time period of it, the different colors and what they mean, how old and how new it is. There's famille rose, which could be rose medallion, rose mandarin, rose canton. So each and every one is different and special to me in 100 different ways. But just to point out a few of them, I also mixed them with my bordello cabbage. This is my newest bordello cabbage. It is an egg plate, which I adore because last Easter we didn't have an egg plate, so we had to just put our deviled eggs on a platter. So this year I was prepared in case we do Easter at my house again. But my friend Renee who is now selling vintage antiques as well. She helped me get a lot of this Bordello cabbage. There was a huge estate sale where she lives in Houston, and she went for herself as well as me, and she bought so many pieces, like this butter dish, which I adore. It's really special. I can't believe she found something so sweet. And this really big Bordello platter that I love. This is probably my favorite one of the Bordello inside of here. But for the Famille Rose part, my friend Anna, who's in Denver, Colorado, got me this piece right here. I love it. I love the size of it. I love the age of it. It doesn't have a stamp on the back, so it is pretty old. The bird feathers on the tail are long, so that also shows you how old it can be. And then this is probably one of the only ones that I have with the lemons. I didn't know that lemons came in Famille Rose, but they do. And so I'm so glad that she found that for me and sold me a piece of it from an estate sale that she went to. And this is probably one of my daintiest ones, which is this little teacup and saucer collection that I have that I got from an auction site in Dallas, Fort Worth. My aunt went and picked it up for me because I was working, but the piece of it is just so dainty and frail. I would never imagine actually using this, but it stays up here so that I can look at it all the time. Okay, so this is kind of what I mean by cabbage goes with every time of the year. I don't think this is a Bordello cabbage. It's one of the ones made in Portugal, but it might be Mojica or something like that. But I'll just go to show you that they go with any time of the year. This is what I do at fall with my Spode Woodland, and this is the turkey one. I pair it with this cabbage, and I just feel like it really goes really well. And then I even put one of these dinner napkins my friend Avery made when she got a embroidery machine, and put it on the table just like that with our last initial that I will soon to have. So that way, I think they're pretty timeless and I can use them throughout every year. I also have like the English Springer Spaniel, since we just got an English Springer, like I said, and I just love the way it looks with that. With the cabbage, you can use it all the times of the year. I think if you're starting a home, green is the best, safest way to go. And then again at Christmas, this is my Spode Christmas tree. It goes with the green as well. But I think for this last Christmas, I did my William Roberts Facebook Marketplace find again. I was so lucky to have found bows, red bows, for the Christmas season. And I like that the green adds the kind of the green out of my mostly red decor at Christmas sometimes. Sometimes it can get really red in here. And then lastly, my sister got me these sweet little plates for Easter. And I mean, it goes perfectly with it. It just gives it I think the cabbage goes best at Easter, but I love using it year round, and it really has just become my favorite thing to experiment with it at different times of the year. So that is all stored in my china cabinet. I probably couldn't fit another thing. When I do get married, I have no idea where I'm gonna fit wedding china if I do decide to get wedding china, but I'll have to get something else and just store it somewhere else. You just keep adding to the collection. So moving on from the dining room and into our kitchen, we have this little bar area. This is probably one of the most expensive items I have in the home, and it was only about $300. This and the dining room table were both Facebook Marketplace or thrift finds. And yeah, only $300 for the entire house, I think was really, really nice. I tried to stay kind of low and on a budget. This again is our first home, so I don't wanna go crazy and buy designer or expensive things. If you're patient enough and can keep an eye out for things that you'll love or stay timeless with you, you can really find something beautiful and create the home that you want, even if you are on a low budget. This is also from the same thrift store that the white Bordello cabbage plate was from, but it was only $20 to me at the thrift store in Dallas, Texas. I change these pictures up each and every season, so I tried to keep something with the blues and greens of the home since the dining room is filled with pinks from the Famille Rose. This is just a little Etsy print that I printed at Walgreens, and it's just of Charleston of the Marsh, which I love because we're kind of in the thick of wedding planning right now for our Charleston wedding. So I do change it up each year. I kind of keep the hidden ones behind here, but this is the one I have at fall. It's just a little English Springer and a duck. And then I think I also have my Christmas one, which is just a little Santa who is reading. And I love to change these up during the different seasons. I think it's so fun, and it's just a way to add. And then I just tuck them behind this china cabinet for me to change out during the different times of the year. But I stick them in this huge gold frame, and it kind of looks like a work of art, even though I didn't even have to lift a finger. Sometimes I do put my own artwork up here. I do really love to paint. It is something that I've kept from college, so for the most part, during Easter I have an original painting, but sometimes I do change it out and just do little prints that I find on Pinterest or something like that. We have some glassware that I love, again, incorporating the ducks and the different waterfowl that my fiance loves. Those were thrifted. I try to include my mom and some different ducks down there. This little frame that I got from Auden and Avery off of TikTok. I discovered them off of TikTok. They were lucky enough to send me one of those frames. I had my eye on it for forever, and I love it. My professional journey was a little bit of an odd one. I grew up in South Louisiana, Lake Charles, and I moved to Ruston to attend Louisiana Tech University. I absolutely loved it. I came for pre-medical illustration. It was actually the only college in the South that taught an undergrad. And I was really lucky because this is where I wanted to go. My mom went here, her dad went here, and so I already knew that I wanted to come here. I did all 3 years, and then the last summer, I actually moved to Paris for study abroad. So when I came back home, I decided to go out on a whim and apply to a few airlines. It said that the process took around 6 to 12 months, so I went ahead and applied in September. And it ended up being that I got an interview and got with my airline pretty quickly, more quickly enough than I wanted. They needed me to start in February when I didn't graduate until May. And I knew that if I backed out that I probably would never have a chance with this airline, which is my dream airline again. So I decided to just go for it. I dropped out 6 weeks before graduation and took the job. Me and my best friend moved to Miami and were there for 3 months. I wanted to come back home. I transferred back to Dallas, and I'm finally where I want to be. I commute between DFW and MLU, which is my home airport in Monroe, Louisiana, or Shreveport. I can also commute to as well. And everything has really fallen into place. I would hope to go back to school one day and finally get that degree that I wanted, but for right now, I'm really where I want to be. I work in a big city, but then I'm able to come back home and have a small hometown life, so I really love it. And then directly off of the dining room into the kitchen, I have our kind of newly renovated kitchen. We ended up keeping the original cabinets because we're probably not gonna stay in this home for forever. We're thinking about moving back to my hometown. I don't know, we're kind of juggling it up in the air, but we're really just renovating this house, and then we're gonna see where it takes us next, maybe to another house that I can start all over, which I would love to do. I enjoy really decorating and doing it. So my dad came down and helped me paint, take down this huge cabinet we had up here that I replaced for some lights. And then my mom also helped me add the hardware, add the paint. My fiance got a new sink. So we have this plain little white sink. And then he replaced the old pink orange countertops for this faux marble that's actually Formica. So this was a really great thing that we have for somebody who's doing a renovation on a budget or really doesn't want to knock out everything in their kitchen, but wants the luxe look. We did this Formica that's marble, and I love it. It works just as well, and it gives the look that I'm looking for. We slapped some Amazon tiles back here. So for the most part, this is our kitchen, and I just love that I can come home, cook a meal. It feels very light and clean. I love when a kitchen feels light and clean. And then I just stick I always have different fruit or maybe some snackies in this bowl up here, some candy, like at Halloween, we had a whole thing of candy up there. And then I always have this kitchen lamp on. I've never turned it off since the day I got it, honestly. It just gives such great light, and when you're cooking up here, I'll take all the extra light that I can get. A little clear frame, again, from Auden and Avery. And then, yeah, this is our kitchen. We happily just redid the floors. They were this horrible peel up floors that were tearing in every single which way. So my fiance laid these down, and it was just perfect. We absolutely love them. They last great, and we measured it perfectly because we only had one stick about this size left. So I think it was a match made. So looking at our bar stools, I actually have these Ballard design bar stools that I got off of Facebook Marketplace again. And then I have these little couch cover cushions because these chairs came from a home with kids and they're Crayola on everywhere. So a lady out of Shreveport made these for me, and we stuck our new monogram initials on them, and I love them. We're able to get them off and clean them up just as easily. They get kind of dirty sometimes because it's just a high traffic area, but I really love it, and it completes the space, and I love the gray with the marble formica. And then if you follow me down the hall, I'll take you to our guest bathroom, which is right here, right off of the kitchen and dining room. It is our blue bathroom. It's actually one of the first rooms that we did whenever we moved into the house. We haven't renovated our master bathroom yet, so this is the one that we use as well as the guest. Hopefully our master bathroom is the final and last room to renovate, but for right now, I love spending time in here and getting ready in here. We just did a blue half wall that my fiance actually did himself with his brother. I was so grateful that I don't have to really contract out anyone. He does really anything I set my mind to, and I love that. And then just some wallpaper I hung up here. It's not perfect because it was my very first time hanging wallpaper, but I am happy to have done it, and I like the way it looks really well. We have this gold mirror here that I love. It was also a Facebook Marketplace find off of Dallas, but I was wanting a gold ruffle mirror exactly how I have in the entryway. And then randomly one day, a few months later, a gold ruffle mirror was listed on Facebook Marketplace. So I was so lucky to, one, find it, and two, be able to snag it before anybody else. But I love that the guests can come in here and have a pop of color. I love putting lots of color in kind of small spaces because you don't spend too much time in a bathroom. It's not one that you live in, like the living room. So I love that something like a guest bathroom that isn't used very much is kind of a pop of color. So then after you leave the guest bathroom, we can go into our guest bedroom. So welcome to the purple room is what we call it, aka Leo's room. This is the guest room, and honestly probably my favorite room of the house. After we finish it, we contemplated moving into this room and kicking our guests to the master bedroom. But I have this Society Social peel and stick wallpaper that we did. My fiance did the wainscoting on the bottom of the room. And then I just have lots of purple, white, green, blue fluctuating throughout here. So we have our Henry Link, I think they are. They're the bamboo nightstand and headboard combo. I actually was able to thrift them separately, I believe. I got the nightstands at a thrift store, antique store-ish thing in Natchitoches, and then I was able to get this headboard in Dallas off of Facebook Marketplace. And then these lampshades and sconces are just Amazon. They're added my own ribbon and fabric to the lampshade. I have these pillows that my Nana made for me, and some bedding from Home Goods. We have a little, oh, this is probably one of my favorite things in this room, is this bow gold mirror that I have from an antique store in Shreveport called King's Antiques. I absolutely adore it. It was pretty cheap, and a couple of the pieces came broke, but I just super glued them back on there. I already had a bow mirror right here that I thrifted in Dallas, but I replaced it for this one because I like it just a little bit more. Will put this one in our master bedroom whenever we do it as a vanity mirror, but for right now it goes in here with the guest bedroom so that they have something to get ready in as well. So in the guest bedroom, I have stored my wedding trunk. This was actually a DIY for just to keep keepsakes in and different things that I will gather along the way from my wedding. It has our initials in it. I did everything myself. I have kept some things in here that I've gotten from my family and the engagement over the time that we are preparing for the wedding. So I have my little fabric in here that I did myself, and then we put a monogram, our new monogram, Molly and Darren Huddleston, right there in the center, and I can't wait to fill it up with like matchboxes or little gift things that I do for our wedding in Charleston. But we keep it in here in the guest bedroom, and I'll be able to fill it up whenever the time comes. Another thing we have in our guest bedroom is this little china cabinet armoire thing. We have, it's like a bamboo material. I got it out of Shreveport from a guy who was selling it. I keep really my DIY nail things. I do my own nails, so I keep those in there. And then some leftover plates and scraps that I haven't used quite yet. Some thrifted Bordello colorful plates in there as well. But hopefully one day I'll be able to like move it into a nursery and use it for clothes rather than just storage. But I love it, and it fits right here in the space pretty well. So we're gonna leave Leo in his purple room and head over into our master bedroom. So welcome to our master bedroom. We have this beautiful blue room that we actually just finished renovating like 2 weeks ago. It used to be kind of green, and we lightened it up and did some really pretty Charleston blue is kind of what I would call it. This is our Dewdrop by Sherwin-Williams, and it is the perfect color. Again, with the half wainscoting, I love it. I think it's just a traditional style that you can add to any room and really make it into a traditional style home, even if you're not given a traditional style home. But I have this little nightstand and dresser set that I also got from Facebook Marketplace. It was a horrible orange color that I had in here for over a year, and I just thought I was looking and looking and looking for better furniture, and I couldn't find anything I really loved. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and stain it. My friend Avery does it all the time to her furniture, and she recommended me how to kind of stain it and reuse it, and now I'm in love. So we have changed out the hardware to this beautiful like brass hardware, and we keep the dark wood in here to give it a little bit of a warm and antique look to a really bright and blue room. The one thing you need in a master bedroom or any bedroom that you're living in is a full length mirror. I could not have a small mirror for when I'm getting ready. I have got to see the full thing just to make sure that I'm good for the day. So we have this Sam's Club mirror. I think I got it for $150 when it first came out. I'm almost sure I saw it for $100 the other day at the store, so it's getting cheaper. And it really is the perfect place for to be able to get ready in the morning. I put it with some oyster plates I actually got from Amazon. I was really lucky enough to find these beautiful oyster plates, really nice material, and they were only $8 a piece. So they're not available anymore. Hopefully they come back in stock, probably because I sold them out by buying so many, but I love them so much. You really can't find antique looking oyster plates for as cheap as that. So we just updated our bedding. I have these Colfax and Fowler pillows that my Nana made for me. I got some napkins. These are actually dinner napkins that I got from Maxine Makes. And then when I decided not to use them for the dinner room, for the dining room, my Nana made them into cover pillows for the front. So I love them so much. I think they go great with the room. And then I have this DIY bolster that I'm kind of really proud of because I am very shocked at how much I was able to DIY this. This is actually just a body pillow from Amazon, like a pregnancy body pillow almost, that I slipped a perfectly fitting Etsy cover over, bolster pillow cover. And then I added this trim, curtain trim, I also have on the curtains up here, from Amazon, and I just try to incorporate that throughout the room so that it would kind of give the little matchy design look, even though I did it myself. Over here I have some bamboo curtains, or I guess you would call it like a Roman shade from Amazon. They're super easy to install, and I was able to customize them to the size and specifications of the window that I have. And since I am a flight attendant, each and every room that I go in has a luggage rack. I will not travel without one. They have them in my hotel rooms when I go to work, and then I have them in my guest room, and then now I have them in our master bedroom. I quite literally am never without my suitcase. I always have to have a luggage rack, and I'll put it in every room from here on out. Over here we have our dresser that is also the same as the nightstands, same story. It was that horrible orange color. I stained it, added the hardware, and it really looks great in my opinion. I think it looks super antique, super vintage, and just gives that kind of, I don't know, like Ralph Lauren style to a really light room again. So I love the dark stain. And then I've added some picture frames from over the years. This is our Springer Spaniel, Junie, who's not in the home right now, but this is when she was a puppy. And then over here, this is actually one of my favorite pieces that's brand new. I just got it last month, I think. It is a heron fishnet figurine. These kind of go sometimes expensive, and they're become collectible, so I'm gonna start collecting these, I think. But I found this one on eBay for like $200, and I'm gonna use it as our wedding cake topper. That was actually an idea that I got from SJ Bailey's Homeworthy tour. So she used her hair in pieces as a wedding topper, and I was obsessed with it ever since. And then I have these Amazon sconces. These are rechargeable, not wired sconces, so you can take the light out and charge it up or whatever you need to do. They're actually super easy to take up out of there and put back in. I love them so much, and my fiance loves turning them on for the bedroom because when he can get in bed, he doesn't have to get up out of bed to turn the light off. They are remote controlled, battery powered. Some more faux flowers that I love. I stuck with the green and the light green to give it to the blue room, but I put it on this little brass bamboo dish and just kind of brought in some of the color and the thrifted styles that I like to incorporate throughout the bedroom. Home to me is just really where you can come to a place and bring everyone that you love together, be able to have them come in and sit down, relax, or come in and have a home cooked meal. It's just really the payoff from working so hard to decorate your home or to make your home feel as a space that you want people to enjoy. It's being able to come home from work and relax, sit on the couch, get into bed, and just be able to really decompress. I just want my home to really be a place that people can come in and feel like they're at ease and enjoy their time here. I want it to feel like they're in a space that they can really relax and feel comfortable and feel invited. Bye, Homeworthy. It was so nice showing you around my home in Ruston, Louisiana, but now I gotta catch a flight, so I'll see you guys later.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Rosie.
And I'm Julian.
Welcome to our home in the beautiful historic town of Galveston, Texas.
Coming in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, Homeworthy. My name is Rosie del Bosque, and I am a nurse practitioner and also a content creator. And this is my home in Galveston, Texas. The story of how this home came to be is actually a very special one. My husband and I moved to Galveston when we were 21 and ready to start nursing school. The school that we attended is here in Galveston, and we lived in a little apartment back there. We will always drive around the historic district, which is really close to our school. And we always dreamed about one day owning one of those beautiful Victorian homes. We never thought the dream would be a reality, but here we are today. We purchased this home about 4 years ago. We were looking, and finally this house was listed. It was so close to work. The day that it got listed, actually, I called my realtor right away, and he said, I won't be able to make it on time. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see it today. And I said, just make the appointment, maybe you'll make it. So we get to the house and I get a call that he won't be able to make it on time. And my husband and I are just looking at it from the outside, and we see an older gentleman just sitting in the porch. So the gentleman that was sitting in the porch happened to be the owner of the home. And he said that he was told to leave the house, but he had nowhere to go. And he was kind enough to offer to give us a tour of the home. So we ended up touring the home with him, and he shared the most special stories. And at that moment, we knew that that was the home of our dreams. And he was just incredibly kind. The bones of this house just seemed so perfect, and we immediately just fell in love with the home. And that night we went home and we decided to put an offer. At that time, this was when the market was very, very hot. People were putting offers in without even touring homes. They were offering even more than what was being asked. So We didn't know if our offer was gonna get approved. And a couple days later, we get a call and she said, look, I don't know what you guys said to Mr. Yates. He didn't want to go through the weekend showings. He's just ready to sell the house to you guys. From that moment on, the dream finally became a reality. So that night, after we talked to Mr. Yates and toured the beautiful home, I just got home and I told my husband I need to write to him. So I got a piece of paper and I started writing a letter to Mr. Yates, telling him how much I appreciated the time he took giving us a tour and telling us the story of his home, and how much we really wanted to keep that legacy going. We fell in love with that beautiful sunroom where he will spend the evenings with his wife, which had recently passed away. She was also a nurse practitioner like I am. She created the most beautiful garden, and I wanted to keep Jane's garden alive. They have a beautiful pergola outside. They have just the most amazing, precious home, and we needed to let him know that this was going to be our first home where we wanted to start a family. And I think that letter really made all the difference, because he was getting offers left and right, some of them over the asking price, but I think that the meeting that we had in that letter is what it was almost meant to be. So this is my husband, Julian. He's going to be joining us for the tour, and we cannot wait to show you our home. This is our living room, one of my very favorite spots in the house. If you had first seen how this house looked when we first moved in, I don't think you will recognize it.
Completely different now.
It really does. It's a lot more bright and airy. The previous owner had very dark color walls here and very big, bulky furniture that made this room appear a lot more smaller than it is. So we decided to paint everything white and then add all the touches of color with the furniture, and we also added this fireplace that you see here.
This is one of my favorite things in the house, by the way.
Yes.
I think like whenever you first brought it up, I was like, there's no way we can fit a fireplace and make it look like it belongs there.
Yes.
And you always had the vision, and it really gave the house a heart. It was like the middle of it.
I do feel this is definitely the heart of the living room, and I wanted to keep the essence of the home. So I wanted to make sure that we had a mantle that represented that Victorian era. So this is just perfect. It is an electric fireplace. I love to decorate the mantle through the seasons, and it just makes the whole living room a lot more cozy.
So one of the things I love the most about this fireplace, and whenever we were like thinking about how to do it, if we wanted gas, if we wanted like just a traditional fireplace, we were thinking about how like the front of the house is right here. So we couldn't really put like one of those like big things that go to be able to have a real fireplace in the back, or like built under the house to like run all of the pipes and all that stuff. So basically what we decided to do was to go with electric, and it was the best decision ever. Because like here in Galveston, it gets really, really hot, and in Texas, July is just steaming hot.
It is.
So like, still having the ability to just turn on the fireplace and have the coziness that it brings, and be able to like hang out, watch a movie, have the fireplace on without it necessarily putting a ton of heat out. It's great. It's one of the best things.
We love this fireplace. The electric part of it looks so realistic, and of course the mantle and all the detail of it is my favorite part.
And it makes the crackling sounds too, so it's wonderful.
We're gonna move on to one of my favorite corners of the home. Call it a little bistro corner. I have a bistro table, marble, and 2 chairs that I found at an antique shop. If you can see, the chairs are not the same. These are 2 different chairs, but I just love to have things that are not perfect. I have a love for imperfect things, and I'm a strong believer that you can make it work with what you have. And this cute little corner, like I said, we love to have coffee here. I love to come and sit here and read a nice book just like the lady that you see in our portrait is doing. We also love to play board games. I love the aspect of having spots where you can be comfortable, lived-in spaces. When family come over, I always put out board games here so they can enjoy themselves. And it's just a little fun corner to have.
And we were talking about earlier about like having little spaces inside the spaces in the home. And I think like this living room alone has like 3 different spaces where you can kind of hang out. So I think like being able to just sit on the couch, being able to just come here, being able to like sit in the chair over there by the French doors, I think it kind of gives you those 3 different vibes. And I think it's also important to talk about how this corner came to be, because I remember like for your social media stuff, you were kind of like doing like this like set where like you had just a small corner just to come and hang out, and then the table just kind of moved there just to stay. And it's one of our favorite places in the house.
All the trim that you see here is something that we added as well. I love the high ceilings of this home. We just wanted to add a little bit more character to the wall. So we did the trim ourselves, and the one that you see above in near the ceiling, that is the original molding to the home, which I love. I love that it has that detail. Something else that I love is the ceiling medallions, which you're gonna see throughout the home. Those add so much character. It's one of the things about older homes that I love so much. And I remember when we first toured the house, when we were hoping to buy it, I saw those ceiling medallions, the crown molding, the hardwood floors, which are original to the home. And I just fell in love with all of that. I feel like that's something that you can't find in new construction. And we always like to point those things out. So
like a lot of those little pieces that you see here, they were all estate sale finds here on the island. So like some of them have come from like other like very old homes and that have like, the cool thing about Galveston is the small towns, and you have like all these homes, and whenever like people are moving, the things just kind of stay here on the island, and the estate sales happen pretty much like every weekend, and it has become like
beautiful Victorian homes with estate sales where we have found a lot of what I call our treasures. So this here is an actual radio, and it still works, which is amazing. And we found something similar to that. Like I said, the beauty of our home is that it's imperfect. A lot of things don't match, but I think it's just so cool how you can make it work, and each piece, it's individual. So it's really neat that when you come here, you won't see a lot of what you may see in other homes, and I love that. We also have this little furniture piece here, magazine holder. I love all the carving and the detail of it. And little by little, we keep adding on to our collection of antique pieces. But like I said, a lot of this is new. The coffee table was newer. So it's just a beautiful mix of both styles.
And then all the little light additions, like I think like, you have like this big spaces with really tall ceilings, but really what brings it together is like all the little light fixtures that you have been adding where like you can sit down in a corner and not have to turn on that big light.
Yes.
I think that's also been huge, because
the warmth that lamps bring to any space, really. Something else that I love about this living room is the natural light that you get here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 windows, so it's just so nice to be able to wake up in the mornings, walk through this space, walk through the dining room, get to the kitchen, and have all this natural light. That's one of my favorite things about the home. And over here, we just have our little TV console in our TV. We love that it's a TV frame, so you can almost pass it as art and not just a television. And then I have to have books in almost every room. I love to read. I think books just make everything cozy. And if anybody's hanging out here and they just want to grab a book and make themselves comfortable, I always like to make every space of the home feel welcoming and cozy. I will say my personal style for this home is definitely timeless, classic, and also cozy. Our house has a lot of old and new. So a lot of the things we have were from estate sales, antique finds, some thrifted, and some of them are new. So it's a good mix of old and new. We definitely wanted to keep the essence of the Victorian home alive, but we also added our own little touch as well. So now we are gonna walk through our dining room, which is right through these French doors. Welcome into our dining room. Come on in. So here is where we have spent so many moments as a family. We love to host. We love to host Christmas, Thanksgiving. Like I mentioned before, some of the things that you're gonna see throughout the house. The ceiling medallion, this chandelier was here before we moved in. The hutch that you see in the back was also another antique find.
That was a great find.
Yes. And I've been trying to fill it with little antiques that I've been sourcing throughout the years. And the dining room and the chairs are new. So we see that same theme of old and new throughout. I love our hardwood floors, and that's the reason why we don't have a lot of rugs throughout the house. I just love the beautiful exposure of the hardwood floors. Right over here, we have a little gallery wall, some other antique pieces that I've been collecting as well. And I just love the way that the living room flows through the dining room and then right into the kitchen. So you can have all this open space, while at the same time you can close it up and make it a little more cozy in its own individual space. And that's one of the things that I love the most about this home.
So just to like go back to the hardwood floors, right? Whenever we think about this hardwood floors in the house, like the house survived the 1900 storm, which is the deadliest storm, like natural disaster in the history of the United States. And then we also think about surviving Ike. I mean, like this house took, I believe it was about a foot of water, right? And then so like, basically like think of everything this house has been through and still be able to like preserve most of the wood floors in the house are original. And then like, I mean, see the condition, like they're still really, really good, really, really sturdy. The walls, most of it, like the sheetrock was about 1 foot of it was replaced, but then the rest of it, it's all the original stuff. So like, just to think about the
It is a beautiful thing to think of the history of this home and to be able to talk about it. That's one of my favorite things to do. It's what makes this home so special.
Absolutely.
So this is something just so special to have. It's a project of the Galveston Historical Foundation. So every year they pick new homes, and it's really cool to have this here and be able to display it like this. So here's our dining room table. I love to decorate through the seasons. Spring is starting to, you know, be around the corner. So I love to add little pops of green. Here you're gonna see, actually you're gonna see olive branches throughout my home a whole lot. And the reason why I love olive branches and olive trees so much is because we actually have 2 olive trees in the front of our home, and those are the first olive trees that were ever planted in Galveston. So that's one of the reasons why this home is considered historic, because we do have those beautiful olive trees that are hundreds of years old, and I love olive trees for that reason. Sometimes I do take greenery from the trees and bring it into the home, and otherwise I love to find olive branches and add that as a little detail of the home.
They still give a ton of olives.
I love olives.
Every single year around October, November, we get a ton of black olives, and so it's pretty awesome.
I am a pediatric orthopedic nurse practitioner. I work for a nonprofit organization, and we take care of children regardless of their ability to pay. I just feel so lucky to be able to do that, and also I am so close to work that I get to walk to work every day. My husband and I actually talk about it all the time, how when we moved to Galveston, it was just not moving to a new city, but it was a completely new lifestyle. We live on the historic East End, and we are close enough where we can walk to the beach, walk to the historic downtown, walk daily to work. So it really is an incredible thing to experience. And besides the work I do as a pediatric nurse practitioner, I am also a content creator. I love to share about my home on social media. I actually have a big following that came from the love that I have for older homes, historic homes. So many of the people that follow me have been there since day one, and they've seen how we've completely transformed this home and have made it our own. And I also love to write about it on my website. So I just love to do that as an outlet to let that creativity side of me come out. All right, so moving right along, here is our kitchen. Welcome into our kitchen. This is definitely the heart of the home. We love this little kitchen so much. It is a galley kitchen, so not your typical kitchen where you will find a big island, but I think initially I remember seeing this home and I thought, I don't know about the kitchen, it seems kind of small, but I've definitely loved or learned to love this kitchen so much. It is a lot easier to clean.
Oh, absolutely.
It makes it very cozy. I love to have conversations with people here, and I'm a little bit of an introvert, so being able to cook here and not having everybody kind of look at me is one of the perks of having your own little space when you're cooking or baking. I just love the coziness of this beautiful little kitchen. Many memories have happened here. I love to give my baby baths in this little farmhouse sink.
That's one of my favorite things. Yeah.
It is precious. And I love that the kitchen is a timeless classic white. I love having glass cabinets, and I just love how it's a great contrast with the hardwood floors that bring kind of that warmth to the kitchen. The kitchen being white allows me to add all the little fun pops of colors. Flowers. I love having the gold detail here of the faucet, and then right over here having the pots and piece of art, adding a little bit of character to the kitchen as well.
Yeah, it also, like, I think having the glass cabinets also kind of keeps us accountable.
Yes.
To kind of keep everything
Keep things
organized.
nice, yeah, neat
Nice
and
and tidy.
organized. That
Yeah.
is true. It's great. We love this space. It's also nice that it's way in the back of the house, so if it's not organized, it's not the first thing that you see when you walk in.
The same thing with having the deep sink. It's like whenever you look from outside, you really can't see if there are any plates or not.
Yes.
So that kind of keeps it very,
manageable.
Exactly.
Which is really cool. I think part of the beauty of lived-in spaces is having pictures of the people we love. A lot of times we have artwork here that a little one is now starting to make. So I think that's part of the soul of the home, to see those little things throughout that just create that warmth and coziness. So I always love to have that. We definitely love to entertain here. I love the layout of this home. You can make it cozy. We do have a pair of French doors that you can, during the winter time, we love to close doors and cozy up in our living room, turn on the fireplace, watch a movie. But when we have friends and family come over, we can easily open up the space that leads directly into the dining room and the kitchen. So then we have this bigger space for family and friends to hang out without losing that sense of cozy, which I love about this home. I love that you have each designated space that I get to decorate differently, and it's not just a big open layout. So I think that that's one of the things that makes this home so fun to decorate, that each individual room has its own character, and you never know what you're gonna see when you step into the next room. So I love that about this house. Welcome to our sunroom. This is definitely one of my very favorite rooms.
This is my favorite room in the house.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I spend most of my time in the house in here.
Yes. I always dreamed about having a sunroom, so this is incredible that we now get to experience this. This room was added on at some point, and you can see that the original sideboard of the home is here, and these windows as well.
Yeah.
This used to be at some point a screen porch, but the Texas heat is crazy, so it was after some time added on to the house, so now we can enjoy it all year long. We have a beautiful seating area here. We love to just come and relax, read books, talk. We love to watch movies as well. We have a projector on this side, so we can bring the projector down and have a great movie night here. And then right over here you can see our son's little kitchen. I loved this little kitchen because it almost looks like ours. It has a little glass doors here and also all the gold details. So when I saw it, I had to get it for him. It is a cute little kitchen.
He absolutely loves that kitchen. I think like every time that we're cooking, all you can hear is like the pans and pots just flying.
He tries to mimic what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's
he even has his little
coffee machine.
His little coffee maker.
Yes. Right over here we have our home gym. This is the tempo machine, which is really neat because it keeps all your weights and things neatly organized and kind of hidden. And then we bring out our yoga mats, and this is just the most amazing spot, especially in the mornings, with all the beautiful light to come and unwind and exercise. So overall, I will say the sunroom is more like a multi-purpose room where baby can play, we can exercise, we can enjoy and watch a movie. And then right over here, we have another little bistro corner, which I love so much. I love to come here in the mornings, drink a coffee. At night, we love to come and unwind and have a glass of wine. It's a beautiful view to the garden. So in the mornings, you can see all the little birds outside. We have a bird feeder, so they always gather, and it's just so nice to feel closer to nature here. It's almost like being outside within the comfort of being indoors.
And what's cool about this little spot is somehow we end up eating more here than we do in our own dining room.
It's a tiny little table where we manage to eat most of our meals here. We both work in the healthcare field, so to have this space is just very soothing, and we just love it.
You know, something that's really cool about the sunroom is that like I find it a little funny, but you can actually see her workplace, like the hospital, right across the street from here. So it's funny because like, yeah, every time like she's at work, she can actually look down and like see like basically the backyard and the sunroom. And then I find it pretty cool here in Texas, especially where like you pretty much have to drive to go everywhere. To have the opportunity to just like be across the street from work, or like walk around, or just like hop on the golf cart and go downtown, or things like that. It's really cool. It just kind of slows life down, and it lets you enjoy and like look around and enjoy a little bit more of what's around you. So that's been a pretty cool experience here.
Yes. What I love the most about my home is how unique it is. This home was actually built in 1879. It is part of the Historic Home Association. It is a beautiful Victorian cottage, and it is part of the historic East End district in Galveston. Galveston has over 50 blocks of preserved Victorian architecture, which is one of the largest ones in the nation. And I just feel incredibly lucky to be the owner of one of those special homes. All right, welcome to our office space. This is also the spot of the house where the dogs love to hang out the most. So we actually had to move their beds here because they just love to cozy up here for some reason.
We should just start calling it the dog master suite.
I know, because this is where they like to hang out. This is Chip. He's a little Maltipoo.
And this is Benji right here. He's a Shih Tzu.
Yes.
They're both very sweet, full of energy. At least Chip is full of energy. Benji's pretty chill.
He's an old soul. Yes.
He really is.
He goes great with the house.
Exactly.
This was a really fun project to design. I definitely wanted to have a space that was a little more moody. We decided to go with a darker green and add the beautiful wallpaper and the ceiling that you see here. I feel like that just added beautiful character. The ornate design of the wallpaper is my favorite. And once again, you can see the ceiling medallion. This chandelier was here before we moved in. I'm not sure if it's an original, but it's definitely an antique piece that I love so much. I love the way the wood looks against this dark green. The contrast of the doors and the stairs. I just love how that
this
the
is
room
one
together.
of the this was one of the last projects that this is one of the latest projects we've done in the house actually. And yeah, like you said, it was been very fun to put it together. I think like trying to design even from like the steps. This was very interesting because the steps used to be like white, and then we didn't want to go through the whole process of like sanding them and all that
stripping down.
and stripping it down. So like what we did, we found this paint that's like wood-like paint or
Wood-like
something
paint.
like that, where like you basically just like coat it and then you basically stain it after, and it turned out great.
It looks almost like real wood stain, which is amazing. And then we decided to add a little gallery wall behind. So I just love this office space. Before, there was really nothing here. It was a weird transition between the kitchen and the upstairs area. So it's nice to designate a space for just the office and the dog. I think what makes this home come alive is the fact that it's an older home. It's almost 150 years old. So as you're walking through the home kind of speaks to you. You can hear the wooden creak a little bit. It's during the winter time, sometimes some of the windows, they're kind of hard to open, so you hear that as well. So I think it's part of the character of the home, and knowing that there's just so much history here that came before me, and being able to experience it, it's a really cool thing. Welcome to the primary bedroom. We'd love to show you around. So one of the things about older homes is that typically they don't come with a lot of storage. And when we first toured this home, there was no closet space whatsoever. So I was able to design the closet that you see behind. It was a little challenging at first because I thought about maybe we can do a walk-in closet, but I really didn't want to take away from the room. I couldn't picture just taking a spot from here. So instead of taking away, I decided to add on. And I think this closet adds just so much character, and it makes it a lot more romantic. I love the glass doors. I love having a little seating area where you can enjoy a nice book. This is one that it's not all the way up to the ceiling because I still wanted to have the picture railing molding that you see throughout the room exposed. That is original to the house. You will see that a lot in Victorian homes where people would hang frames from the railing. So that was important for me to keep that intact. And I also didn't want to cover any of the windows, so it's nice to have the building around them, and you still have a beautiful light that comes in this room. It's one of my favorite things waking up in the morning. This is the front of the house, so you have views to the porch and all that natural light that comes here. It's one of my favorite things.
And one of the beautiful things is that the master being basically in the front of the house is that it has those high ceilings that are actually not throughout the whole house. It is just the first half. So basically the living room and the primary like the master bedroom have high ceilings. Everything else just kind of drops. Yes. I don't know, having this whenever you wake up in the morning with a view of the olive trees and the little birds, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty magical.
Yes, makes the room feel so grand to have this high ceilings here. So this bed is one that we've had for years. I love the timeless look. I feel like the metal look of this, it's kind of timeless, doesn't really go out of style, and it's a beautiful contrast with the white walls behind. I love adding the two lights on each side so we can each have our own light at night if one of us wants to read or whatnot. I love the doors here. It's a beautiful contrast of the wood color against the white. And one of my favorite things is the doorknobs, which I can show you. These are all throughout the house. There's beautiful detailing. We actually have the key, so if you want to close the door, you have to use the key. So we are now going to make way to our primary bathroom, which is right here. So why don't you come along? Welcome to our master master bathroom. This is definitely the one room in the home that has seen the biggest renovation, I will say.
Yeah.
This looks nothing like it did when we first moved in. And this is a very interesting and unique layout. It is a very long and thin room. The reason is because this used to be the main hallway of the home. Even though it was such a large room, it was not very functional. I felt like there was a lot of wasted space. So we pretty much recreated and designed this whole room ourselves, which was really fun to do. I wanted to add more storage because, like I said, older homes don't come with tons of storage. So we designed the built-in cabinets that you see behind. It's great storage and also adds a lot of character. So I love that. And then we added this double vanity, which it's such a timeless piece. I love the marble, the brass color, and then now we each have our own individual sink, which is great.
And not having anything at the bottom still makes it look pretty big and not too tight, you know, with the bin so narrow.
Yeah.
So that's been great.
We wanted to add a tile that was also very similar to the time of this home. So back in the day, the smaller tile that you see here was popular, so we decided to add that here to make this a timeless space and not too modern, and it has worked great. The runner gives this room some warmth, so we love the runner here. And then the beautiful clawfoot tub is my favorite part of the bathroom. This was something that's been here for years. We just restored it a little bit, painted it.
It is so heavy, and what's funny is that I think the bathtub is here to stay. There's actually no physical way of taking it out without having to take down the whole door, the frame, and the wall. So I don't know. We joke around that the house was built around the tub.
Yes, it's definitely one to stay, which is great with us because it's a beautiful tub that we love and appreciate. I always envisioned having an arched shower, so that was something that I wanted to add. And then of course the designated space for the toilet, which makes it a lot more private. We love to have that separation now. I wanted to add a lot of detailing, highlighting the brass pieces. I'm all about the little details. So if you see over here, even the toilet paper holder has some character. Same thing with the brush to clean the bathroom. Everything here was designed with purpose, and I just love this bathroom so much. We did add the chandeliers, so these are new, but the ceiling medallions, once again, those were there. So I love that we follow that throughout the home. That's one of the things that I really love. And something else is that this bathroom actually connects to the nursery. So this door that you see here, that's what it is. So at night it's so great because we can just come right around and check on baby if we need to. Inside the shower, there are a few things that we really wanted to do. So we wanted to make sure we had 2 shower heads. I wanted to have little built-ins to have a shampoo and body wash, and then a little bench as well. So it was great to be able to design this shower and the beautiful details of it as well. We did try to go with a vintage style that will match the home. So definitely a mix of old and new.
And I love the rainfall shower.
Yes.
I've never had one, and those things are great. It's awesome.
Yes. Welcome into the nursery. This is our son's room. I love this room so much. When we talk about the soul of the home, it's definitely the people that live in it. And it's been beautiful to create a space where our baby can grow up. For the theme of this room, I really wanted something that felt magical, whimsical. So you see a lot of animals, canopy there that gives you that privacy when we have nighttime story. There's a changing station over here. But one of my favorite things really is the wardrobe that you see behind us. That was that came with the house, and it just adds so much character to this room. I love all the detailing, and that's where we keep a lot of his toys, heirlooms, and things like that.
Yeah, I love this piece. It's definitely like the thing is like the versatility of it too because it's so well made. Like we can as baby grows up, we can go from shelves to just having like hanging rods, things like that. So
a lot of things.
yeah, so it's definitely a piece that will probably stay with us for a while.
We love
You can actually like this bookshelf right here. I love it because it tells you a little bit about the history of the home and probably like how many times it's been like changed with the layouts. So like basically here, this is a very thin wall that actually leads to the master suite. But basically it got covered and it separated the two rooms, and now we have two very unique rooms, but still kind of keep some of that original taste of the house.
So some of my favorite things that we have here, you're gonna see Paddington, the bear, and the book. We actually traveled to London this summer and we got this at the Paddington station, so it's a very special thing to have here. And then this book, Make Way for Ducklings. We traveled to Boston and this is the inspiration of that book. It's one of the parks there. So it was really beautiful to get to go to the park that we read about every night. And it's just a very special thing here that it's part of his collection. This one is silhouette of him when he turned 1. So that's another very precious thing that I love to have here. Home to me means the place that you love and you never want to leave. That's kind of what I aim when it comes to designing and decorating. I want it to feel almost like a retreat where you can welcome others and people just feel that they can stay here for as long as they want, that they're well taken care of. I love to create cozy corners in every part of the home that I can, and I also like to make it feel well lived in so people can enjoy themselves and not feel like it's supposed to be always spotless or anything like that. I love just the cozy aspect of this home. Homeworthy, it was so fun showing you our home here in Galveston, but now it's time for us to go.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.